Yep.
Can you fucking relax?
The first one wasn't even me.
It was Zach.
Okay. 3. No, I'm sorry.
What?
5, 4.
Wow.
Oh,
Teresa.
That threw me off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Can we please start it with that?
Yes.
Oh, we're just going. Let's go.
Yep,
Let's go back to come play.
Let's go, Zach.
21. We're just going. We're going for it. That's how we're going to start this episode. We're back. It's the 4 knuckleheads back at it.
Talking about
Talking about some shit. This week we're going to talk about Robert Kraft. Just fucking
Good God.
blowing some money, blowing some other things.
All
We're going to talk about Manny Machado and what that means for Bryce Harper. And we're going to talk about Zion and going into that. Should athletes be paid? Like I said, we're all back. And let's get right into it. Zach, thought of the week. Let's go,
Get
boy.
right into the thought of the week. All right.
We didn't even fucking say hi. Hello?
Whatever.
Say hello then, bitch.
Yo.
What's up, guys?
All right, what's up? All right, thought of the week. All right, so you never have to pay for alcohol ever again,
Oh, fucking yes.
but for 7 minutes randomly every day, your dick gets hard as it's ever been.
God,
7
why?
7 minutes?
7 minutes.
You can't just ever let me have a good thing, huh?
No, there has to be a downside. Like that's what makes it a debate. Like, is it worth? Is it worth it? Like, it could be any period inside the.
So is it going to be the only time my dick has like the whole day?
No, I mean you can choose
Like-
to do it manually if you want,
Okay.
but for 7 minutes you're stuck with it.
So it's basically like a taking a Viagra for 7 minutes. Is
Yeah,
basically
last
7 minute
minutes,
Viagra.
The 7 minute Viagra. Okay.
It's like a bump of Viagra.
I can't, man. No.
Dude,
So-
I'm just gonna take hockey tape and just tape my dick to my eye. So, like, even if it does get hard,
Oh,
like,
it's gonna
not
hurt,
that
though.
visible.
Oh, dude, that's painful.
Yeah,
Just
it's gonna
takes-
hurt.
Just take some Velcro and stick it in your waistband.
Stop. Wait, wasn't there somebody? There was a story about a kid who did something similar, and like ended up infecting it or something like that,
Oh,
and it had to
God.
get cut off.
Oh god, that's terrible.
I forget what the whole story is.
Sounds
I'm
like an
missing a
Onion article,
lot of
honestly.
pieces, but yeah.
No, I mean I think I would do it. I would risk it.
Oh,
So Zach, I would understand you risking it, but like I don't drink that much, and the only time I do drink is like at restaurants or something, or like if I'm at a party. But like I feel like you drink almost religiously, so like I would understand you.
I think they call that alcoholism.
Yeah, exactly.
Mistaken.
Yeah, so you're an alcoholic. No, I'm kidding. But no, for me, I wouldn't do it just because like I drink maybe like once or twice a month, if that. So that's a no for me, dog.
I'll risk it.
No.
I'm
Because,
risking
like, yeah, I mean, you know, alcohol's expensive. Getting hard for 7
Exactly.
minutes, like, whatever.
Yeah, if that's the price I have to pay, it's
Yeah.
If it wasn't like if it was something else, then maybe I'd consider it. But like alcohol, like it's not the best choice for me.
I mean,
The other thing too is it could happen in your sleep, so you'd wake up not knowing if it was
I mean,
going to happen.
that
today.
happened anyway. So like,
We're so immature.
That's
my God.
why I would risk it because it usually happens in your sleep anyway.
well, no, there's no way. Because here's the thing: you got to understand something about my luck. It's fucking terrible. So it'll happen at the worst opportune time every single time. Like it doesn't matter. I'm either giving a presentation in front of the class, or I'm having a business meeting, or in a job interview. It will happen. I'm telling you.
I would be like,
you
oh, I don't
imagine,
mind.
like-
No, I get free alcohol.
That's like the biggest power move of all time, though.
You're just like in a room just by yourself, and your grandmother is in there,
Stop. No, fucking.
and
Yeah,
or-
why did you
or-
have to bring the grandma into the
or an
situation.
old person, or
The class presentation scenario.
actually,
Okay.
no.
Tyler lives with a lot of family, though.
No. Hold on. Better story. You're in a room with your boys, right? And you're all just having a good time, and you get hard. There's a reason you got hard, or you would assume. So your boys are gonna be checking you. You know what I mean?
Well,
No, they're just like, hey boys, I'm hard. Let's beers.
I would duck and like somersault out of the room for the next 7 minutes. Like, I'm out. I don't care what's going on right
Boys,
now.
I gotta
I'm
go
leaving.
take a shit really
Or-
quick.
Or they're the most understanding people ever, and they know my situation.
Dude, I would just tell them if they're real friends. You just be like, yeah, man, I get
Who
it
the
for 7
fuck
minutes a
would
day, and I
believe
get
that
free
kind of
alcohol.
story?
Like if the four of us were just sitting at a poker table, like, oh yeah, boys, I get hard like for 7 minutes. And I get free beer because of it.
I was gonna say, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, they might definitely like that because that's free beer and free
Yeah,
rounds.
it's like,
all
boys, I'm feeling it coming. Let's go get some beers.
Brendy, if you think I'm an alcoholic, you haven't met Lewis.
Well, I have
wow.
Lewis, but I know. Well, I'm not going to get into that. But
Way to throw your friend under the bus on the podcast, by the way.
yeah, all right.
I didn't say a last name. No one's not going to know who he is.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just gonna say I knew Lewis for something else that wasn't alcohol.
Okay, we can talk about that off air.
No, I'm definitely.
Am I solo on this?
No. I'm with you for sure.
I said no.
I said no.
Yeah, I'm
So
with
it's
you for
2 and
sure.
2. All right, split right down the middle.
Yeah, fuck that.
And in related news of guys with their dicks being hard, Robert Kraft,
That
charged.
was an original thought of the week, by the way.
Oh, nice.
It never is. It never is. So it's always fucking
Jeff and Gavin, let's build. Honestly, they have the best questions, but that one was original.
Shout out to Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter.
Big shout out to Rooster Teeth.
So I just want to ask really quick before we move on to the Robert Kraft thing. So like, what would be like your time limit? Like, would you be like, okay, like I won't do it after like 20 minutes?
Wait, say that again?
Like what would be your time limit? Like you say, okay, like let's say the question was instead, 20 minutes your dick is hard. Like what would be your limit?
Oh, 24 hours.
24 hours. Wow.
Yeah, you're just always.
Yeah, all the time.
You'd be a medical marvel, dude.
Yeah, I'll do that for free alcohol. I mean, if you drink it enough, it'll go away.
I'm a pretty frequent drinker, but I'm not. No way.
All right,
Like,
that's all I wanted.
Hold on, I just have to say because like if all alcohol is free, you could literally like be drinking like $1,000 bottles of liquor for free.
Well,
Man.
I've never bought $1,000 bottle of liquor, so I don't know what the taste difference
Me
is.
neither. But if I'm doing this, you can bet your ass I am.
You could go to the
I've gone
club
from-
and get all the bitches with that. Like,
Going from Jack to Crown Royal real quick.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Anyway, let's move on. Not too much to report on this, but I think we all just have something to say, or at least I want to make fun of the situation. 77-year-old Robert Kraft arrested today
big baller.
because of he might have been soliciting some prostitutes, and apparently. This act was videotaped, which, as Zach said earlier, I pray to God that does not come out.
Okay,
dude, what are you talking about?
If I can interject here, did nobody hear any of the audio when the Hulk Hogan tape came out?
Yeah, well,
you want to talk about the worst thing you can possibly hear. I never saw any of the video, but a radio show that I listened to back at home played some of the audio from it. And oh my god, it's so creepy. I think my favorite part of it, for those who haven't seen it, is at one point him and the woman he's with are talking, and his daughter, I guess, is like a singer or a musician of some kind. So he's like, all of a sudden, like in the middle of all this, his phone goes off and his ringtone is one of his daughter's songs. And it's like at the worst time, man. Yeah. Oh god, it's fucking creepy.
Dude, I guarantee you that it was nothing compared to the DJ Khaled one.
I think Ray J and Kim K win the sex tape awards here.
Well, I mean, yeah. That's like
he was offended you asked that.
That's the
And I
number
feel
one.
like that's like the
Number
standard.
one sex tape right there.
Yeah, it's top. It's what gave you guys Keeping Up with the Kardashians and just the Kardashians in general.
I
And
mean,
Kanye
I
and
will say,
Roswell.
I will say this is, it's a bad situation, because obviously I'm sure. Well, I mean, they got paid for their actions, but some lovely girl had to do this with this old man. But police, this is a report from ESPN, by the way. The police said they secretly planted undercover cameras in targeted massage parlors and recorded their interactions between men and female employees. So I say this because he's not the only person a part of this. Apparently, there was hundreds of arrest warrants out for sex trafficking from Palm Beach to Orlando, Florida. So Florida, everybody's just getting fucked, apparently. So, yeah,
I've
this is
read
a
that
big
even
thing.
if he does get convicted, it's only going to be a misdemeanor.
He's getting nothing for this. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Unless something else comes out of it, I don't know. I don't know
Like
what
he
it could
was
be, and I
involved
don't
in
even want to think
something
about
somehow.
what it could possibly be. But if anything comes out, then we might see the possibility of him stepping down or
Yeah, I'm sorry.
doing whatever.
The massage parlor that he got apparently called at is called Orchids. Oh my God, Orchids
You got this.
of Asia Oh my God, what the fuck?
Are you
Guys,
good over there?
hold
You
up.
fucking stroke.
Orchids of Asia Dame Spa.
Jesus.
There you go.
Well, so what I also heard is that this is apparently a massage parlor that's known for this kind of thing. I mean, obviously because there was a sting, but
Yeah,
I mean, he knew about it.
right, well, absolutely he did. My thought process with this is this though. So we talked off air a little bit, saying there was 19 other people arrested on this sting, and my point was that there's the slight possibility that there's some other high rollers in there that people might know.
Oh yeah, for
sure. This is going to sound so weird when I say this out loud, but my mother was calling me about this story because she was having some fun at this, and she said she was listening to a radio show back in New Jersey, and she's saying that the hosts were talking about the one guy was apparently theorizing some names, and he apparently at one point wrote one on a piece of paper for his co-host to see, but didn't want to say it on air to stir up any controversy. But he's convinced there were some other people there, apparently. So,
I mean,
who knows?
You don't just walk into a massage spa not expecting to get your dick sucked that day. You don't just walk in oh, I guess I'm getting a free blowjob today. You know what's going on.
So
Oh,
I mean,
God.
I don't know.
What?
Robert Kraft is a very successful man. Obviously, his team is very successful, but he just seems like a really weird.
The dude likes to party.
Old guy. Well, no, look. I mean, his wife.
Clearly.
His wife died in 2011, which is
I forgot about that.
That's one
I feel
thing.
bad for forgetting about that.
But he's been dating a 39-year-old since 2012,
Right.
and he's 77. That I don't. I mean,
He's coping with it.
I mean,
guess-
just,
yeah.
just remember at one point Mick Jagger. Everybody knows who
boy.
Mick Jagger is
I'm wearing a Rolling
dating
Stones t-shirt right now.
is dating a 20-something-year-old who is
Yeah.
3 years younger than his granddaughter. I just want
Yeah.
everybody to remember this fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to each his own, but it's just so weird, man.
I mean, I don't look. I don't think tastes ever change, even how old you are. You know what I mean? The dude's in his
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah, 77.
You know, I don't think it changes, man. But this is funny to me. I hope nothing more comes out of this. I really don't.
I really
But
don't
as
want
of
to
right
know
now,
more, honestly. I know just enough to make jokes about it, and that's the golden
Yeah.
area
You
right
have
there.
your fucking meme content right there, Zach. I don't think you need anything else. The dude was arrested for soliciting prostitutes. What else do you want?
Yeah, I mean it's although I mean I kind of just I was at work and I got an update on my phone, so I thought this was way more serious than it actually is. But yeah, it just seems like it's kind of going to be a slap on the wrist. But we put it on the podcast because I don't know.
Because it's hilarious.
We're all fucked up and immature and think it's funny. So there you go. Quickly, we're going to talk about George St. Pierre, arguably the greatest of all time. Will retire for his second time. Although he says he's open to a fight as Khabib made a last-ditch effort to St. Pierre to reconsider for a fight in November after the suspension is over for him. Bobby is probably definitely the biggest UFC fan here. But I mean, like I said, I think St. Pierre is one of the best all time. But what do you, how are you feeling about this? And also, do you think he comes back for one more fight?
Oh man, I mean, everybody, as Ted DiBiase Sr. would say, everybody's got a price. So I'm sure the money's on the table. For a huge fight with Khabib, would not surprise me if he came back. It's always a weird thing with retirement, right? Like you retire because it's like, you don't want to go through all the stuff anymore. You don't go through all the training and everything else, but then you still have that itch to compete kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like even, it never really goes away, I think. And sometimes just being an analyst or an announcer just never really does it for anybody. But regardless, I mean, the man's been a staple in UFC for a while. I think he made his UFC debut at 46 in 2004. And finished his ending with a record of 26-2, which is kind of incredible, which means he hasn't lost in about 12 years. His last loss was against Matt Serra via TKO at UFC 69. Nice. At April 7th, 2007. And he actually lost in the first round of that fight. But the rest of the time, he had a few fights that went all the way. He fought Nick Diaz, beat him, beat BJ Penn, Michael Bisping. Yeah, I mean, dude's been a staple of UFC. He's definitely one of the greats. Yeah, highly regarded as the greatest of all time. And with a 26-2 record, it's really hard to argue. But like I said, it's sad to see him go, but I would not be surprised if he came back in like literally next week because there was a multi-million-dollar fight on the table. Dude just has that kind of, look, I'll come and fight and beat anybody's ass for a few million.
Yeah, his.
I'll get my ass beat for $1 million.
St. Pierre's 37, and I don't know. Like I said, Khabib is putting his name out there, or wants to fight him one last time. He says he has a lot of respect for St. Pierre, so we'll kind of see what happens there. But as I mentioned, and we mentioned in the podcast before, Khabib is suspended for the actions against McGregor for, I think it's till around that time.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, it's a weird situation.
So yeah, we'll see if he's actually retired or he pulls a Brett Favre. We will kind of see from there. But yeah, we will keep it at that, and we're gonna move on to some soccer. Let's go. I love soccer.
Football.
Or football. I know. But we're from fucking America, so we say soccer. Anyway.
We're not just from America, we're from fucking America.
Fucking
football, you American pleb.
Fuck yeah.
CONCACAF and UEFA Champions League is underway. The first leg for many matches in both have went by, and second leg is coming up. Brendy is more of the CONCACAF guy, so I'll let him take that, and I'm more the UEFA, watcher. So Brendy, what's been going on in CONCACAF? Let's start with your boys.
Wait, hold on. Do people actually refer to it as CONCACAF?
Yes, that's how it's pronounced.
That rolls off the tongue so perfectly, though. CONCACAF.
Well, Zach, are you gonna spell out like all
choking on a dick?
Are you gonna spell out like all the letters?
Really?
Yeah.
We're watching the CONCAF champion.
He is not paying attention. Zach
I
is
know
talking about
he's
sucking
not.
dick.
Sorry,
I'm listening.
Yeah, all right. Fuck you, Zach. All right, whatever. All right, so I'm
such a piece of shit.
Okay, Bobby, shut the fuck up. Mute your mic. If I was that guy from around the horn, I would fucking mute you right now. All right, now moving on.
You're on the clock.
So I'm not gonna really talk about like the Honduran and Mexican teams that much, just because I don't know really how to pronounce their team names for that matter. So I'm gonna mainly focus on Major League Soccer. I'm gonna stick with Atlanta United, I'm gonna stick with Major League Soccer. With Atlanta United, they played Herediano, which is a Costa Rican club that has basically loaded up during the summer. Got a bunch of new signings that looked really impressive last night. And a couple players stood out to me really well. Jimmy Marine, who's a central midfielder and played like a champ last night. He was dishing out assists, making a lot of Atlanta United stops, and as well as I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's Granados. I think who scored the goal to put Arediano up 3-1 against Atlanta. So Atlanta played in Costa Rica, so they played away, and they did get an away goal, which is highly advantageous during these kind of like international events, because this essentially means if the next leg is going to be in Kennesaw. Actually, it's not going to be in Atlanta. But if Atlanta United can win 2-0, then that means the series is tied, but Atlanta would advance due to the away goals rule. So it would be a 3-3 tie, and Atlanta advances. So Atlanta lost their first leg 3-0, or 3-1 rather. They got the important away goal. They were down 2-1 at some point, which would have been a lot more comfortable. But we'll see what Atlanta goes from there. And Toronto FC played Independiente, which is a very good. It's probably the best league and best team in Panama right now. And Toronto FC just sucks in international matches, so they got blown out 4-0 in their first leg. So it'll be impressive if Toronto FC can make anything out of that. But if Independiente can score one goal on the road, then that basically means Toronto needs to win 6-1, if not more.
They're not coming back.
Yeah, so it looks like it's the end of the line for Toronto, and I kind of make fun of Toronto all the time just for being a bad international team. But I've reserved my blows for now, just because Atlanta United didn't play too well either. Sporting Kansas City, though, on the other hand, they had a very nice match at home against Toluca, who is probably like a mid-tier Mexican team. They're in the Liga MX, but they're probably middle of the pack. Nothing too special about them. So they're going to go on the road February 28th to play them in, I don't even know what city they play in for that match. Oh, they play in Toluca. Okay, just making sure. But yeah, they'll be going there, and if Sporting Kansas City can basically just get one goal, then it'll pretty much be over for them. And then the beloved Houston Dynamo, also known as Tyler's favorite team.
Fuck you.
They played. I don't know how to pronounce this team. Guastatoya.
I have no idea. I'm looking at it too.
Guastatoya. I think the G is silent, but.
Hawasatoya? I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, so Houston Dynamo winning against them, and they're actually a team in Guatemala. Houston was playing on the road. They got the important away goal, and they ended up winning that game, which is huge for them. So if they can draw the next match 0-0, then that's great for them. I think Houston is probably one of the favorites. But another favorite I would have is the New York Red Bulls, who also played on the road against another team whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Basically, a Dominican Republic team.
It's Atletico Pentoa or something. I've actually heard of this team, but yeah, I don't know.
Yes, so New York actually got 2 away goals, which is very impressive given the history of that team. So they're going to be coming back to New York. I don't know if they're actually going to be playing in their usual stadium, but if they do, then it'll certainly be huge. So I would have New York and Houston as probably the 2 Major League Soccer favorites. At least I'd probably have. It's hard to. I probably have Santos Laguna taking up or winning the whole Champions League. But we'll see how it goes. Most of the matches for the second leg are going to take place to the 26th to the 28th for the second leg.
Nice. And UEFA, which is the big championship around the world, something I'm very into. The first legs of all the games of the round of 16 are over. I'll kind of just go through all of them really quick. Roma beat Porto 2-1. I believe that game was in Roma, I believe. Yeah. So that game is in Roma, so they're looking okay there. Although Porto did get a late goal to get that away goal, and then this one hurts for me. Manchester United loses 2-0 at home, but even worse, Paul Pogba, probably Manchester United's best player, gets sent off with a controversial second yellow late in the match, and it's not looking good as they go back to Paris. They're going to need to score 3 goals at least without PSG scoring.
Mbappe scored that match, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe it. Well, I was going to say, yeah, Mbappe scored, and then Kimpembe scored as well. But the big kind of news was Angel Di Maria came back to Old Trafford, a place where he didn't have a good departure there, and he actually assisted on both the goals. And he was, the fans were giving him a hard time during the game. And when he got those 2 assists, you could, they had the camera on him, and he was telling the fans basically to fuck off. Like, he literally said "fuck off, fuck off, fuck off" like 3 times
Jesus
to the
Christ.
fans, and that's basically, yeah. And it's unfortunate, like I said, Paul Pogba in the 89th minute gets a second yellow. And I mean, that's kind of sinks Man U's ship. So that's tough there. Very interesting scoreline in another game. Tottenham goes and wins 3-0 over Dortmund.
Wow.
Tottenham's a good team, and it was home, but Dortmund, they're a very good team, and this year having a very good season in the Bundesliga, and they got smoked. So
they're like a top tier German league, or not German league, German team.
Yeah, them and Bayern are the teams in the Bundesliga, and they got smoked in that game. So 2 late goals there. Next game we had was Ajax and Real Madrid. Real Madrid wins the game, but only 2-1, and they actually left it till the 87th minute, but they get the win. Excuse me. That was an away game, though, so they do get 2 away goals there. They're looking good going back. Interesting. Barcelona 0-0 to Lyon. And that one was in France, so I mean they're looking good. The stats for this game are kind of insane. Now, only 5 shots of theirs went on target, but they had 25 shots on the game compared to 5 for Lyon. And
wow.
A lot of possession and a lot of passing. So they dominated the game, just couldn't score.
So it's probably an understatement to say Barcelona is probably favored in the next game against Lyon.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, they got lucky too because their goalkeeper, Ter Stegen, made an amazing save that actually, kept that to a 0-0. So they got lucky. The other game, my other favorite team, although I don't get to watch them as much because of the coverage, Bayern Munich, 0-0 against Liverpool. I watched this game, and it was a very weird game. Bayern played this game very passive. The game was at Anfield in England, and they played the game super passive. Didn't even look like they wanted to score. It looked like they were happy to get the 0-0 and go back to Bayern to Munich. Sorry, and try to make do there. But yeah, they are passing around the back a lot and just were being very passive. So I haven't liked their play this year. I mean, with the team they have, they should win the Bundesliga by miles, but they're struggling right now. They're just very passive there. So work to do at home. And then the last 2 games, Atletico Madrid beat Juventus 2-0. A little bit of a surprise. 2 goals late, 78th minute and 83rd minute. There, and that game was in Spain, so they go back to a lot of work there for Juventus. They gotta get 2 goals there and a third to win it. And then the last game, which might have been the best game of the whole slate, surprisingly, by the way. Man City versus Schalke, another German team. Sergio Aguero started the game for Man City with a goal, but then Schalke scored on 2 penalties by the same guy, Bentaleb, excuse me, to make it 2-1, and then in the 85th minute, Leroy Sané with an incredible. It was such a good goal that it was even on SportsCenter's top 10 and was number 1. That's how good it was, and they never show soccer on the top 10. It was a free kick that just curled beautifully into the corner, and then Raheem Sterling in the 90th minute got the winner for them. That game was in Germany, and they actually had a sending off too, so they were down to 10 men. And that was a great game. I watched that as well, and that was a fantastic game and a really good ending. So the second leg for all these matches start March 5th and will end March 13th. They're within that period, and we will see who moves on to the quarterfinals.
So I know it's early and like only the first leg. Do you have an early favorite?
I don't know, man.
I was personally thinking PSG.
I like PSG. I do. That was going to be one team I was going to say. The other team that I would have said before this was Juventus. I thought they had a really good chance, but they have an uphill battle. And you always have Barcelona and Real Madrid who always seem to do it. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, it's kind of cliche to say, but I mean, I can see, out of the 16 teams here, I could probably see about 6 or 7 of them winning it. I think PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and then I don't know. As a Bayern fan, I'm not really happy with how we played this year, but they could always turn it up, or maybe even Liverpool. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see with the next leg. But I will say, man, if you are not into soccer, I recommend it. I know it's like in the United States for a long time, it was a kind of a joke of a sport, but it's very entertaining. There's no commercials throughout the whole game. Fucking best part.
Yep.
It's very entertaining, and it's not what people make it out to be. But
So let me open this up real quick.
Uh-huh.
As someone who has not fully dived into the sport, right? Like, I mean, I obviously loosely follow the Union because Philly, but
right.
what would be the place I start?
Well,
Like, where would I watch? What would I watch? Like, what would completely get me into this game?
in my opinion, there's 2 things, and it's because of the coverage of it. Like I said, my 2 favorite teams are Manchester United and Bayern Munich, but Bayern, I don't really get to see that much. But Manchester United, NBC covers the Premier League, which, in my opinion, is the most competitive. Like there's better teams around the world, but I think it's the most competitive league, like one of the most competitive leagues in the world, and that's always fun to watch. I really love Premier League, and then if you are looking to watch the best of the best soccer, I would say Champions League. Right now we're in the round of 16, so they had the knockout. So it starts with, I think, 64 teams or something like that, and they play knockout games and about 8 different groups, and then from there it gets dwindled down to 16, and that's always fun. I mean, and I will say this too, honestly, as much, and we keep coming back to it about MLS, but MLS is getting better, and that's very accessible. So, but no, man, like it's for real. Like anybody that wants to get into soccer, like I highly recommend it. And when the World Cup comes around, I know that's when everybody like pretends to be a soccer fan and kind of like goes crazy, but like it's something that, like, if you stick with it, I'm sure you'll like, because there's so much. It's all around the clock. There's different leagues. There's so much to follow. And like I said, when international play comes around, if it's the World Cup or the European Championship or CONCACAF, whatever, it's very good. So
yeah. So
a lot of people say they don't like soccer because it seems slow or there's not a lot of scoring.
Well,
Which I disagree. Which
yeah.
it's right. There's not a lot of scoring, but like when there is, Like usually the goals that happen have been building up so long, or they're just like a one-off. Like they got a quick good play in, and like the goals are always so exciting in soccer.
Yeah.
Right.
So like that's usually the big argument. And now look, there's their exceptions. Like honestly, the Bayern Munich game that they just played against Liverpool that ended 0-0 was like I'm not gonna lie, it was sort of a boring game, but in terms of like to the rest of them, but there was still like good chances, and soccer, the net is as big as the side of a barn, so like there's there's close chances, and guys soccer is a very technical sport. It's very skilled. It's very technical, and guys are, there's stuff that these guys are doing that not many people can do. And like I said, I know people think soccer is kind of a joke, but it's a sport that requires a lot of skill. No, I mean, like I said, yeah, I mean, I know that is the thing. A lot of people are like, "Oh, soccer's boring; they just pass it around." But you kind of have to learn to appreciate it at some points and know that at any time, especially the way the game is being played now, it's a lot of counterattacking. That's literally how Leicester City won the Premier League with their 5,000 or whatever it was to 1 odds. They played counterattacking football and soccer. Excuse me, I slipped there and said football. I apologize.
Get out of this country.
That's literally how they won the league, and it's just any chance. So yeah, like I said, that's my thing with soccer, man. I love soccer.
Yeah, I mean, so Ty knows I played for years when I was little, and I was a goalie, and soccer is a fun sport to play, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun to play. I was a goalie, but I always found watching it, except for, like I'll watch the World Cup. I always watch the World Cup. I always watch, that's always fun. I can watch that. I mean, that's top level. You know what I mean? But keeping up with it is just what I guess got hard for me. I think in the Premier League, I whenever like I install like Bleacher Report on like a new phone or something like that, I think I'll always end up turning on notifications for Man City to like loosely follow. And I think it was because I played FIFA at your house, Tyler, and that was the team I ended up picking against you. So I always just kind of stuck with them.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I was always Man U, and then they're
oh yeah, you're always Man U. I was like, fuck it, I'll be Man City.
Yeah,
I think I did pretty decent. This is years ago.
Yeah.
But so that's, I guess if I ever got into the Premier League, that'd probably be a team I follow.
And yeah, I mean, it's been like I said, for US, based listeners, like, yeah, that's going to be the place that's where you're going to get the most content as the Premier League. Excuse me. That's they put, like I said, NBC covers it, and if you follow like a lesser known Premier League team, it might be tougher to watch all of it. But on Saturdays they have you have to wake up a little bit early, but 7:30 in the morning they'll have a game.
Wake up early? Fuck that.
They have like every Saturday it's like a 7:30 a.m. game, a 10 a.m. game, and then a 12:15 game. And then on Sunday, they usually have 2 games as well. So, you're getting 5 games out of the possible 10 every week for Premier League. So it's good stuff. But let's move on. Like I said, if there's soccer news on here, I will talk about it. I'm probably, when the second legs of both of these, conclude, I'm sure we'll talk about it again because I could talk about soccer all day. But let's move on to another fantastic fucking sport. Hockey. Trade deadline.
I don't want to talk about fucking sports.
It's right around the corner. Zach's favorite video game is NHL 19, so he loves hockey.
Yeah, I want to fucking kill myself just thinking about it. I take that seriously. I do not need to talk to a hotline or anything. I 100% okay. That was a joke.
We need to do Zach's jersey retirement on air. Since he uninstalled the game.
Well, I'm gonna,
Zach, you gotta
Brett Favre it. I was gonna say we're gonna convince him to get back.
Okay, if not, I'm making a graphic of a jersey going into the Raptors. I'm not even.
You had to make the graphic.
I can make the jersey mock-ups. I just the only thing I needed we we play NHL 19 a lot, like Shell especially, and we always talked about getting jerseys, like the actual jerseys that we have made, like in real life, because they're pretty fucking nice. And that's all Brendy's work. So shout out to Brendy. But
Shout out to your boy.
I don't know how to get the logo because that would be what I would need to put in for the jersey would be to get the logo, but I have no idea where the fuck to find it. So, but whenever I get my hands on that logo, like I am figuring out how we're all getting jerseys. I'm telling you right now, it'll be an instant buy.
Well, don't try NHL 19 because we still don't have our fucking jersey.
Yeah,
fucking
I know.
logo on that either.
I
Anyway.
have like a placeholder tomahawk logo, which is like not the usual logo that we're used to. Like,
Yeah,
which isn't even really a tomahawk; it's more like a hatchet. But
yeah,
it's the closest thing I got right now.
yeah.
And we didn't even have the jersey on the fucking or the logo on their jersey for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So kind of SOL on that.
Right.
Yeah, so the NHL trade deadline is Monday. I am extremely excited. Although not like there's a lot of fucking deals going on now, so I don't even know if anything's actually going to happen. So I'm just going to kind of go over some of the moves that have happened already really quick, and then we'll talk about some of the guys that are still out there and where they could end up going. Because I know there's a lot of I've been on Twitter through this, and there's actually a lot going on right now. So first off, this is the minor trade, but I just need to talk to Bobby about this. A couple of days ago, Cam Talbot gives us the Flyers for Anthony Stolarz, making and I don't really want to focus on the trade so much, just the fact that this is the 8th goalie that the Flyers have used this year, which is now an NHL record.
Yep.
How you feeling about that?
Look, I laugh at this, honestly. I laugh at this but here's the thing. I laugh at it now because we actually have an answer now. Like, if we were still going through the fucking merry-go-round that we were in the beginning of the season, I'd probably be a little bit more pissed off. But, I mean, Carter Hart has proven to pay dividends. The past recent games, he's a little tired. He has been overworked, overused. I mean, the dude's 20 years old still. So it's really hard to knock him for his poor performances in the past couple games. But I seriously, he's good. He's all that in a bag of chips. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be the future. And now with Cam Talbot as his backup, he's going to have some veteran help. You know, and we can argue all day if Cam Talbot's still an NHL elite goalie or not. I mean, that's, you know, he's had some poor numbers recently. But the fact of the matter is, he's been in the league for a while. Carter Hart's still learning, but he's kind of being thrown right to the wolves here by being in the NHL so early. I think Cam Talbot was actually a good get. I'm gonna miss Stoli though. I'll admit right off the bat that, you know, he wasn't my favorite. I thought a lot of his performances weren't too good, but he was just, I don't know. He seemed like a good dude, like everything about him. And Stoli the goalie is one of the best nicknames I've ever heard in hockey. Like, that's just awesome. So, but I'm actually happy to have Talbot on board. Especially for the development of Hart, since he's kind of just in the NHL now. He's not going back down unless the Phantoms end up making a run. I'm happy about this. And as for the 8 goalies, like I said, it was annoying even at the beginning of the season when this all started happening. But now that there seems to be an answer, I'm okay with it now, and I'm actually kind of laughing at it. So I'm glad the Flyers are getting on the board for something this season.
A couple other trades that happened, and it kind of sucks. I just want to say this. So, like, I watch TSN Trade Center like every year, and like every year for the past couple of years, it's just been getting worse and worse because like all the teams are doing their business before the trade deadline, like probably to avoid all the fucking stuff that happens on trade deadline day. Right. Kind of sucks, but anyway, Boston Bruins acquire Charlie Coyle from the Minnesota Wild for Ryan Donato and a 5th round pick.
Such a weird one.
Yeah, so Ryan Donato came into the league last year, and you know he was one of the late call ups, kind of for their cup run, and started off red hot. Like he was playing insane, and it really hasn't worked out for him this year. And he was one of actually the stars. I say stars, but one of the guys on the U.S. Olympic team over, you know, when they were in Pyeongchang with the NHLers not going. So yeah, he goes to Minnesota. Charlie Coyle to the Bruins. The next one, Carl Hagelin is just being passed around this season. This is the second time this year he's been traded. He goes to the Capitals from the Kings for a 3rd and a 6th round pick. Some speed there to help them out. We had the Washington Capitals acquiring Nick Jensen and a 5th round pick for the Red Wings for Madison Bowie and a 2nd. Bowie being one of the Capitals' better defensive prospects. He goes to Detroit. And then the big one on the day, and the laughingstock of the NHL continues for the Ottawa Senators as they had to do this, but it's unfortunate for them. Matt Duchene and Julius Bergman, former one of the, I believe at least, one of the guys they got for Carlson. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure.
I think.
For Vitaly Abramov, Jonathan Davidson, a 2019 first round pick, and a conditional first round pick in 2020. So, what you're telling me, Ottawa, is that you gave up the world for Matt Duchene. You gave up a pick that could end up being Jack Hughes. It could end up being Jack Hughes.
It could.
In this, and you gave up Kyle Turris and you gave up prospects to get Matt Duchene for less than a year. And so basically you traded I don't even know. What do you say about the Senators? You're such a fucking joke.
What is there to say about the Senators? I mean, look, they're a fucking dumpster fire. We said this in the beginning.
At the end of the day, they had to do it because he wasn't going to resign. But why did you get him in the first? I don't understand.
I think it might have been one of those situations where it was like, look, we have something going for us.
Yeah,
we have a player.
I mean, look, to be fair, and I know this is over talked about, but it was literally 2 years ago. They were 1 goal away from the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
and look where they are now.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's. I don't know what they totally need right now. I think they just need to blow everybody up. Fucking. I'm hearing a couple other things about them. I gotta pull it up real quick. But I mean that franchise. I mean, we said at the beginning there has been nothing good about them. There was really nothing good about them, and then all freaking video comes out to just put the icing on the cake, and then they make these weird deals, and it just nothing's really going in their favor. I don't know if they just kind of screwed themselves over in this way, or what it really is. I really don't know what it is. It's just everything they seem to do always has some sort of negative connotation to it.
So TSN does this every year. They put up a trade bait list, essentially. And it has all the players that are, possibly, could be traded during the deadline. They do this about a month before the actual deadline. So it's just guys that they're looking, for possible trades. So I kind of just want to run through some of these names. Excuse me. And because a lot of this is interesting now, especially with this Duchene trade today. This list gets very interesting. So the first one on the list is Mark Stone, again, Ottawa. He's got 59 games played this year. He's got 62 points. He's actually having a hell of a year for the team he's on, by the way. His cap hit is $7.35 million. He is a UFA after this season, so that's the big thing with him. Now, I'm a little confused because, what I was hearing was that he was willing to resign and they were willing to resign him. Not too long ago, but then Bobby kind of had a conflicting to what I was thinking that apparently, there's some reports coming out today that they are trying to move him. So I'm really confused about this. So, what exactly were you? Was there anything? I don't know if there's anything in particular you were hearing or what, because as we just showed, Ottawa's a dumpster fire. This is their best player right now. What are they going to do with him?
So about Duchene, right?
No,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I got cut out for a second. But Stone. So Stone. They're apparently asking a really big price for him. I didn't fully read the whole thing, but they're looking for some sort of 4-piece trade for him. So he's technically on the market, but he has a very, very, very high asking price right now. I don't know who's going to go for him. I really have no idea. For as high as they're asking, I have no idea because I don't. Who would make that trade?
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know. I'm trying to think, and I can't even theorize who would take that.
Here's the thing for me: if I'm the Ottawa Senators, you need to put butts in seats. Like, you got to keep somebody on that team. Like, you can't just have AHLers out there.
Well, I don't
And
know.
not to mention, this guy's only 26, and like, I don't know. If I'm them, I'm trying to resign him.
Yeah,
Because
so
not to mention, like, we always talk about like, oh, the salary cap, and there's a limit. There's also a floor too, and the Ottawa Senators are like not they need to sign sign some players so they actually don't go under that.
well, what's he going to ask for though? I think is the problem.
I mean, right now he's at 7.35. I could see him asking for 9 or 10.
So if is that something Ottawa should even consider, because that's going to be a pretty long deal though too, right?
Well, I would, yeah, it would be a long deal. I mean, it could be a 7 or 8 year deal, but he's 26 years old. He's over a point a game this year.
Right. So I wonder if this is kind of like, I don't know, a bluff of some kind, like to see who they can even gather, but the plan is to still sign him. I mean, yeah, you're right. So he's 26. I would think that the Sens would sign him to a pretty decent long-term deal and start rebuilding, I guess, around him.
Yeah, exactly.
With him being the centerpiece of it all. But I'm trying to find cap numbers here. But yeah, I would guess he would ask for 10, probably more, because he's already at 7.35.
I mean, Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is going to play for him. Never mind. I was going to say Jack Hughes has to be with somebody, but fucking.
It has a good chance of being Ottawa.
So Mark Stone was number 1. Matt Duchene got dealt. He's number 2. But it makes this interesting because number 3 on the list and number 12 are Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky on the list. Both UFAs at the end of the year.
This does not make any sense.
So
situation. I don't like this one.
Matt Duchene goes to Columbus. So, playoff run? Like, question mark? Like,
let me find, where are they in the standings right now? They're in right now, right?
I believe they're the first or second wild card.
Right. That's what I thought. But really? This is what you guys want to do?
Yeah. So
this is what I don't get. I'm trying to find them real quick. No, they're out of the wild card currently.
Okay. I know
third.
It's a 3-way fight between Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Columbus.
Carolina got in last night. That's right. Yeah, because Carolina won last night. So Carolina's in, and then Columbus is 1 point. Do they really want to do this? Are we sure? Is this something they really want? Okay, this one doesn't make any sense to me because these two guys, right, are going to be worth a ton, right? There's going to be a bunch of teams who are probably already asking, or have interest and have already talked to Columbus about them. And they're really going to keep these guys for a playoff run that probably isn't going to go anywhere? I don't know, man. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
How many more games do they got left? They have a game against, wow, look at that, Ottawa tonight. And I don't know when their next game is. I would think that whatever happens and whatever games are left for them before the trade deadline will give them the answer about whether or not they need to get rid of them or not. But even still, you're essentially fighting for a second wild card spot, which is it's going to be a tight race to the end of the season for. I don't think that's the right move. I don't think so. Start building. Get some assets out of Bobrovsky and Panarin. You'll get them. I promise. You'll get at least draft picks.
I mean, from everything that we've been hearing this year, Bobrovsky is not resigning, and Panarin wants to test the market. So I mean, you basically are saying that these guys, there's like a good chance they're gone. So like they're going all in. Duchene's going to be a UFA at the end of the year, so I mean they could potentially lose all 3 of them.
I guess that's what that means, right? So, and Columbus is going to flip that stadium over after this because you might see a downfall here. You might see a bad next season if they don't get 3 of them.
I mean, it's like if they don't get into the playoffs, like that's tough because I mean, first of all, you give up a first round pick, so I mean, if you don't get in, then you have a chance to, go in the lottery and could get a top pick there. I don't know. They got to make something out of it.
I just don't know what I feel like you have to do it, man. Like, I don't know why you would make this run. I mean, but I think the Duchene, like you kind of already said, is kind of the sign that Columbus is just going to go for this.
Yeah.
But I'm skeptical.
Number 4 on the list.
Voice cracks, motherfucker.
Number 4 on the list. I'm gonna do him and one more person so we can move this along. But to your heart,
Yeah.
Wayne Simmons, not having a great year this year. 16,
No.
27 points, 3.98 cap hit. But that is gonna go up. You would think, maybe double or a little less than double when he gets a contract. 30 years old. What as a Flyers fan, first of all, how many? What are you guys? 10 points out of a playoff spot?
We are currently 7 actually because Carolina's got yeah. So this is where it's been interesting. So in our last 10, we are 6-3-1, and we've gone on a bit of a streak. So we're 7 points out from wild card. We are it's Carolina. And we're right behind Buffalo, who has 64 points. We have 63. Columbus is 69, and Columbus is going to be fighting for that second wild card spot. So we have to get streaky again to do this. But at this point, it kind of maybe just tanking is going to be the best option here for the Flyers, because then it's going to encourage Chuck to make some moves here, especially with Simmons, because Simmons, there is already interest. I had an article up. It seems like Boston, Tampa Bay, Nashville, and Winnipeg are 4 top teams who have apparently, at least I guess, asked about him, with nothing totally stable yet. I mean, dude, he's gonna want more money, which is fine. I mean, but it's just not. I don't think it's something the Flyers really want to get into.
But sorry, by the way, I think the Sharks were actually on that list too, but purely as a rental because they would not be able to. I mean, really, with all these teams, it'd be a rental because they're not going to be able to afford a new deal. I mean, you said, well, the Sharks and Winnipeg for sure.
Yeah, and I said Nashville, Boston, and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would be deadly at that.
Well, really, with all 5 of those teams, he'd be a rental because they. Yep. There's not enough cap space, depending on how much it goes up next season. But yeah, he would be a rental.
Yeah. So I mean, he'll be. He's gonna walk. I mean, if we don't trade him before Monday, he's gonna walk. It's gonna suck too. I really don't want him to be in another uniform. I love this guy to no end. He is just as much a Flyer as anybody could ever be. Dude will get his hands dirty. He does not care. He throws the hits. He fights. He can score. He can pass. He's good on the power play. It's going to suck to see him gone, but he's just going to be asking for too much money, and deservedly so. Like, it's not like it's totally out of the question for what he's asking for. And the Flyers have had a very odd season, to say the least. So him having a bad season really doesn't change the number that he's going to be asking for, which is going to be way too much for the Flyers to pay up on. I'm probably going to cry to see him go. I love this dude so much. I really love this guy. I just, at this point, it's, I want to see if he's going to go, let's get something out of him. Yeah. Let's get something, even if it's just a couple more prospects in our already stacked fucking pool that we have going on right now. Yeah. Just give us something for it. Don't let him walk like that. It's going to be a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And everyone's talking now, Simmons might not be traded just because, let's keep him now because there's a possibility for a playoff run. Yeah, okay, maybe we get into the wild card. Maybe. First of all, long shot. Second of all, you'd probably are dropping.
You'd have to play like Tampa in the first round.
Yeah,
too,
seriously. So. Which I am scared of Tampa. I am, and I think they murdered us last week. So yeah, they're good. They're way too good.
The last 2 guys I just want to talk about is both on the same team, Kevin Hayes and Matt Zuccarello for the New York Rangers. I bring those 2 up because Darren Dreger put a tweet out not too long ago. Lots of action on veteran New York Rangers forward Matt Zuccarello. High picks or a high pick and a prospect is expected in return for him. And then there was also something on Kevin Hayes as well, but I just kind of wanted to mention them because it's a possibility that they get dealt with the Rangers being, where they are in the season right now. But yeah, that is the players that the kind of the top guys. You got, obviously it's a list of 50 they put out every year. And Gustav Nyquist on the list, Jimmy Howard, Michael Furlan. So a lot of guys that could be dealt. I could definitely see. I think Simmons, man, I don't know. The Flyers are weird. I think Simmons gets dealt. I think Zuccarello and Hayes get dealt. And then as for everybody else, we kind of have to wait and see. But
Please, if you're gonna let him walk, just please. There's like a 5% chance he gets re-signed too. That's the funny thing. Like
yeah.
it still might happen. I mean, it would be hard for me to be mad at it too, but he's gonna be paid way too much. I hate these situations. I hate them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So yeah, like I said, one of my favorite times of the year.
Real quick, I did want to. There's a new injury report out for the NFL. Robert Kraft is officially out for load management. Shout out at Joey Langon. Did I say his name on Twitter?
Sure, yeah.
Story has holes in it, seeing as how I thought his load was already gone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, holy shit! Breaking news.
What? Hold on. I got this time.
Connor McDavid. Oh yeah, sorry.
All right. Let's hear it.
Connor McDavid has been suspended for 2 games for an illegal check to the head of defenseman Nick Leddy.
Oh,
whoa.
what?
Okay.
So,
wow, first time offender though, right?
Yeah, but it it was definitely a penalty.
I'm watching the video.
It's not.
It was an elbow to the head, right?
Yeah, it was a head hit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I see why. I'm just surprised it was not just a fine for a first time offender, because usually you see guys get away with a lot worse and get 2 games. But
I love the fucking comments were like, "Isn't being on Edmonton punishment enough?"
Yes. Oh my God. He's in an interesting spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our big topics of the week. Some baseball news, and finally, Manny Machado gets signed to the San Diego Padres, 10 years, $300 million deal. It's been, it's kind of crazy that it's spring training started today, and the top 2 free agents, one just got signed a couple days ago, and one is still out there. And that's kind of a story for another time with how the MLB is. But yeah, Manny Machado signs a 10-year deal. We actually Brendy put a poll up on Twitter about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically how he's going to do in his first year as the Padres. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the majority of the people said that it's going to be a bad year for him with the Padres.
So I put up 4 options. I said, how is he going to perform in his first season? I put up 4 options. Performs like an MVP, puts up all-star numbers, he struggles for a bit, or he completely wastes his talent. And with 36%, completely wastes talent won. So, which I thought was a little bit surprising. On my personal Twitter account, I actually put that he would probably put up all-star numbers.
I said I think he would struggle.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would just be the nature of this deal, man. He's going to struggle his first year, and then all of a sudden, like in the mid of his deal, he's going to be the fucking star that they signed him for.
I just feel like this happens a lot, where like a star player will come to a team and kind of struggle at first, and everybody's like, "Oh, look at this bum! Look how much!" And then and then they kind of
Manny Machado's washed.
So yeah, they get him there. Now, the Padres have, I think they do have the best farm system in the MLB
by far.
Yeah, they have. I know Fernando Tatis is one of the guys, one of the most promising prospects they have, and I can't remember his first name, but Mackenzie Gore, a pitching prospect. I know they're both highly touted. So maybe not something that clicks right away, but San Diego Padres. You never know. Because it's tough. Prospects are just basically magical beans. You never know they're gonna pan out, but they could be a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully soon, man. The Padres, I just feel like have always sucked since like I've started watching baseball. So I don't know. But
that's not the team I expected him to go to, just because of their current team state. But I guess with the promise of a really stacked farm system, I guess it does kind of make sense. Because then at that point you're building around him, and it's not like he's going anywhere for a while. So
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years for God's sake. So I gotta believe that definitely helped with his decision. But like I said, that is not where I saw him going at all.
So where did you have him going?
Chicago.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. To me it seemed like a good fit, but I guess like I said, the whole idea of building around him is enticing enough for him to go that way.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't have thought of Chicago, but now that you mention it, that doesn't sound terrible, I suppose.
It's also mainly because he was always leaning that way, it seemed like.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking it was going to be either Philly or New York, specifically the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the Yankees are rumored for everybody in the league, I feel like. But I definitely do feel like the Padres, though. I don't know if like maybe he saw like look. The only thing we know is like as far as we know, like he could carry that team to a World Series this year. But like first reaction, I'm gonna like I would personally say not really. The Padres would not be my first choice, so they must have like really blown him away with more than just the money offer.
Well, here's the thing: we talked about this in the NFL a lot, like with AB and Le'Veon Bell. Like those guys are looking to be the star at a franchise, right? That's what these guys are looking for. So if say Manny went to the Yankees, he'd be under some people. Like he would not be the guy in that franchise, right? However, you put a Padres uniform on him, he's the guy right now. And all the prospects are going to get built around him. And then no matter how good they are, just remember that Manny Machado is the one who started this all.
I don't know.
And I will say, like, looking at the Padres roster for 2019, that's like, it's literally Manny Machado and then everybody else. And like,
it is
a bunch of young guys.
I mean, they have Eric Hosmer, who's a good player there.
He's no Manny Machado.
Oh, well, no, he's not, of course.
No.
But
I was actually thinking like Ian Kinsler, maybe there.
Right, but like I said, he's not going. Like Manny's not going anywhere. He's here for 10 years, so
right,
plenty of time to develop the prospects, bring them up, and all of a sudden the Padres are going to be killing it in a few years. So
yeah, and I just want to be clear. Like, if you've got a good farm system, like you're set. Like you're set for probably as long as Manny Machado's on the team, because like the Braves, they lost a bunch of their prospects due to basically like an illegal signing by their GM,
right?
And they're still considered like the second best farm system in Major League Baseball, because they have just built so much, and they're only going to keep growing. Like, especially with the draft, it's like you draft well, like that's the biggest thing, and also bringing your players up at the right time. So I think San Diego looks like they're doing it right.
Yeah. So I was always in the mind that I thought Manny Machado was one of the best fielding infielders in the league. I mean, he's got 2 Gold Gloves to his name, but and don't get me wrong, he was obviously the best player on that Baltimore team, but that's not hard to do. But when he got traded to the Dodgers, I thought he kind of really underperformed, like really underperformed. In my
you gotta
opinion,
wonder if he gave a shit.
I mean that he gets. Well,
I'm sorry. Which player?
Manny Machado, like when he went to the Dodgers, I thought he really underperformed. But I thought, fielding wise, I think he's there. But I just, for some reason, like he just seems like a very he just gets into a lot of slumps. It feels like for me, and I guess that's for a lot of players. But he did not have a good showing, in my opinion, in the postseason.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. So I mean, just the way I think his average was like 181 in the season, or 182.
Yeah, and with the thing, it wasn't his play that people were talking about. It was in that World Series. It was him, or in the playoffs rather. It was him stepping on. I forget who the first baseman was, but stepping on his leg when going to the yeah. So,
I forgot, by the way, that he agreed to play third base in this deal. Forgot about that, by the way.
Oh, I was going to ask that, because I was going to say, I mean, he played third base, obviously, in Baltimore, played short with the Dodgers, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I think he probably agreed to play third.
By the way, I mean, going to the question you asked earlier about who did we think he'd go with, I was in the mind, and I know I'm from the Philadelphia area, but everybody should know I'm not a Phillies fan. I'm a Pirates fan. But I was in the mind that I actually thought Machado and Harper would be Phillies. I still think Harper will sign with the Phillies, but that was my thing. So, I mean, kind of segueing here. What does this mean for Harper? Because you kind of see the money that was dished out for Machado. I mean, I'm assuming he would get almost the same deal, very similar. I think the offered deal from the Phillies, I'm not sure about this, but I think it was $300 million over 10, I want to say. I think it was the same exact deal. Yeah, like, what does this mean for him? Because, it's I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but it's been a very, like, bad offseason. Like, I've just seen the same reports over and over again, like, oh, the Phillies are the favorite, blah blah, and then this report comes out the other day that the Yankees are still very much in it. So, I mean, I guess the question for me is, first of all, what does this mean for him, and where does he go?
So before we do this, can we just talk about for a second how bad this news cycle was throughout this entire offseason? Can we just okay?
Well, that's what I was trying to get to.
Let's get into this real quick. All right. Holy fuck, this sucked. So why it got to a point where, and this is what's making me laugh about this whole thing, that even the writers were so tired of this, but they had to do it. Like, especially so I follow obviously a lot of the Philly, beat writers, right? And it was at a point where every little thing had to be reported. Every single Instagram comment, every single cryptic tweet that he would do, they were following a private jet that went from Vegas to Clearwater and thinking that Harper was on this plane. There was one point, and this is probably my favorite post of the whole thing. One of the beat writers, I'm forgetting his name, I'm sorry. He was at Clearwater, and he took a picture of a private jet flying by Clearwater. And he took a picture. He's like, "Who do you think's on it?" Like something like that. Like and oh my god, it's so bad. And here's the thing: I'm falling for it because it's a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Like there's Machado signing was huge, right? For the terms, right? And Harper's about to look like the same thing, and it can mean a huge turnaround for whoever gets them, right? So looking at it now. Nationals seem to be officially out, according to what I read today, is because they apparently haven't heard from Harper in months. Padres are out, not really surprising on that category. So really that leaves Phillies still appear to be top, even though there was one report yesterday and then Brendy linked it to me, that's saying he was unsure. But again, all these reports that come out are so conflicting because then you have someone else somewhere saying like, oh no, he's rounding third with this deal. Like it's there's I don't know
the bases backwards apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. There's so many different reports that it's hard to believe any of them, but it's hard for me not to fall for this because it is exciting because the Phillies legitimately have a shot with him. And the Phillies have already done well in the offseason, so this would be awesome to say the least.
Well, I mean, they already got the best outfielder in the league, Andrew McCutchen, this offseason, so it's fine.
Obviously.
I miss him.
It's funny because I was watching a urinating tree video about Pittsburgh, and he was shitting on McCutchen for a lot of the end there.
Nah, I mean, I love them. But, no, I mean, like, I guess he's a league writer. I mean, you guys probably know. I think his name is John Heyman or something like that. I think he's
dude. I fucking swear, John Heyman is paid to like tweet by the word. Like, shut the fuck up.
Oh my god, yeah.
Give us some real news.
That's what I was trying to get to, like, about the news cycle, because this dude was like getting roasted because like every day he would just like every 3 hours he would tweet something about Harper. And like I kept seeing it on my feed, so I'm like, oh, something's actually happening, and nothing has happened. And I'm just like, I literally like blocked this guy because I'm so fucking pissed off at him. Like that's what I was trying to bring up. Like, you're right, the news cycle has been so bad, and it'll continue to be bad until this is done.
Right. Yeah.
But
John Heyman is the worst of it. I swear.
Even without the Harper signing, I'm going to try and pay a little more attention to the Phillies this season. Let's see how that goes for me.
So like, if you had to pick right now, like where do you guys think he goes? I'm saying Philly.
It's got to be Philly.
Harper. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. You said the Padres were out. I didn't know that.
That came out the day after Machado. I don't know if that's been updated since, but that's what I got on my phone. And like I said, to me that's not very surprising because I don't think they would be spending $600 million in the same offseason.
Well, so I'm seeing a tweet from Jared Diamond which says AJ Preller was asked if the Padres might still be in on Harper. He said a lot of words, none of them remotely denied it. So they could still be.
I did see a report, and I don't know who it was from, but I know it was from somebody close to the league that said that, because I guess a lot of people were assuming that they were out, and they basically said not necessarily, but, I guess it would be tough.
So, honestly, I don't know. It's hard to pick against the Phillies just because, that's what all the rumors have been saying.
I'm seeing the Padres saying they're not ruling it out. Okay, maybe they're not ruling it out, but I don't see it.
Right.
I think they're the huge underdog.
I'm gonna leave this as I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't really know who's gonna sign with. I guess if I had to gamble, I'd probably pick the Phillies, but I would do it extremely hesitantly. But
he can still squeeze a little more money out of the long-term deal, right? 300's not the total cap, right?
That's what I was asking earlier, and I'm not sure. I thought, and I could be wrong on this, that a player could sign for no more than $31 million a year, but I don't know. But I mean, like I said, I would assume it's going to basically resemble Machado's deal. Now, Brendy, I have to ask this question: is your Bryce Harper to the Braves still?
No, Bryce Harper is still going to the Braves. That's my pick.
That's it right there. You guys got it.
Dude, I'm just saying, watch Bryce Harper just sign with Tampa Bay.
He must really just love the sun. It's just because he doesn't want to move.
Dude, the Tampa plays in a dome. That's God. I don't. Tampa's the worst fucking.
He's gonna sign with the Marlins, dude.
Oh my God,
dude!
That's just really like A-Rod.
Derek Jeter, literally. Derek Jeter literally wouldn't spend a plane ticket to go see fucking Harper. There's no way he's signing him.
Dude, the NL East would be super competitive if that were the case.
I think I would actually have a heart attack if he signed with the Marlins because, oh my fucking God, that would turn his whole fucking league upside down.
Dude, imagine all 400 fans that come to the game, be able to see Bryce Harper front and center.
No. You know what's funny is because they'll sell out the first week. Their seats will be sold out the first week of the regular season, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh wait, that's literally it, and then they'll stop. But the ticket prices won't change because, oh hey, look, we have Bryce Harper. It's like going to look at a statue.
Tyler, you trash the Pirates a lot. Have you seen what the Marlins have done ever since Derek Jeter?
Oh yeah, I mean, my.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think my pick. I don't think we were doing the show. Well, we definitely weren't doing the show when the MLB season happened. But I said the worst team in the league would be the Marlins. The second worst team would be the Pirates. It didn't end up happening like that, but yeah, they're all in the same fucking. Their owners just don't want to spend money. It's oh God.
Trade it all away.
So why? So how are you an owner, right? And I listen. I get rich people don't want to spend their fucking money, but what were you hoping to get just by owning the franchise? Just the revenue? What are you trying to do? At some point, especially if you're owning the Marlins, who from my understanding, ticket sales are nowhere near where they should be.
They literally get 39 people to come to their game.
I'm pretty sure they get negative attendance.
So then what is he making money from? Is nothing kicking him in the ass and being
they have to pay people to come to the game?
Maybe I need to bring somebody in?
I don't know. It's such a terrible.
That's a weird concept to me. That's just a weird concept to me. You own a baseball team. I would think if you were somewhat considered for the buyout, you would know a little bit about baseball, right?
Well,
don't know.
I mean, it's
You
first
would
of all,
think.
it's Derek Jeter, so he
Right.
obviously knows.
Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan, by the way.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't realize Michael Jordan actually is a part owner of the Marlins.
Matt, remember when it was supposed to be Jeb Bush?
Yes.
Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
was
it's such a shame too because that stadium they have there is one of the best.
Isn't
in
it
the
gorgeous?
league.
Isn't it
It's
gorgeous?
great.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh my god. What?
Why are we
Yeah.
clapping, Brendy?
Why are we?
That's a Jeb Bush thing. Please clap.
Oh, right.
Please
I
clap.
did forget about please.
Yeah, I don't know. I think either way,
you gotta know.
either way, it kind of brings this back full circle. It shouldn't happen that Manny Machado just got signed a few days ago and his spring training has started and Bryce Harper's not signed.
Right.
Like I said, that's kind of a story for another time, but it's crazy to me.
Well,
but
so-
hopefully soon.
Well, so let's do some early predictions, and we all seem to be pretty set that Harper's going to be a Philly, right? But let's do the same poll we did with Machado right here on the show. So, what do we think he's gonna immediately be all that in a bag of chips, or do you think he's gonna struggle? What do you think?
Like if it's Bryce Harper to the Phillies?
If it's Bryce Harper to the Phillies right now, since we're all pretty set that Brendy, you did say the Phillies, right? So
I said the Phillies, but like I would probably, I'm not betting all my money.
Okay, so let's just assume, since we all have that as our top pick, that Bryce Harper goes to the Phillies. Let's say he's already signed, right? So is he going to be the player he's supposed to be, or are we going to see what everyone seems to be predicting about Machado, that he's going to struggle?
I would say he's not going to be like amazing, but I think he could do very, very well. Like I wouldn't say he's going to be like the best player in the league or something, but like I would say that he could potentially be an all-star. Maybe I would say maybe a little less than like all-star, like I guess all-star level, I guess, but like very close to it, where he probably would make the all-star team.
So I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think Bryce Harper, like, if Bryce Harper gets in the All-Star game, it's gonna be because the fans voted him in. Bryce Harper got
the John Scott of the All-Star game.
Yeah, Bryce Harper got in the 2018 All-Star game with a .219 batting average.
I mean,
like, dude, you're trash.
It's because the fucking All-Star game was in Washington. Like,
dude, I don't care where it's being held at. Bryce Harper is like probably. Get ready on the piping hot take.
Oh god, jeez, hold on, I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Yeah, he couldn't even get it out.
Bryce Harper is like the most overrated in Major League Baseball player. The most overrated Major League Baseball player right now. He had one good season, one MVP, and that's it.
I mean,
I need some numbers. Hold on one second. Keep talking.
Let me say this. After the season he just had, is he worth $300 million?
No.
But it's because it's fucking Bryce Harper.
Well, I know it's Bryce Harper because he won MVP once. And rookie of the year. I'll give him rookie of the year.
All right, so I'm looking at this is according to Baseball Reference. He's since 2012 he's had the following batting averages: 270, 274, 273, 330, 240.
That was his MVP season.
Yep, 319 and 249, and it's projected to have a 265 to wherever he signs.
That's generous
this season. So he did tally 34 home runs, which is his second best on a season.
He's a power hitter for sure.
He is. Yeah,
he's a power hitter, but I don't think overall he's that great of a player. I think he's like pretty good defensively. I'll give him that. Offensively, I just feel like he's like above average and nothing else.
I think the idea is also like, remember, he's not that old. Like he's 26.
I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, he's 26. So the idea is that he's going to pick it up. Right. I mean, which is what I think it's all hyping around.
I mean, it's Machado and Harper are very similar in the fact that, I mean, they literally got drafted the same year and are the same age. They're very similar. Just one plays infield, one plays outfield. But like, the more I think about it, the more I would say that I think the best fit for him, I feel like, would be Philly. just because of what they kind of have going on there.
Yeah.
And man, it would be something too. Obviously, being in the same division as the Nationals, like, what's the reception going to be like when he comes back to Washington? It would be very interesting for sure.
So who's more likely to win like something like a crown? Probably Machado, right?
A triple crown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like highest average, most home run.
Yeah, you cut out for a second there.
It's good to cut out. Out of Harper or Machado, I would lean Harper. I honestly,
Wow.
and I might be in the minority here. I kind of think Machado's actually overrated offensively. Like, defensively, don't get me wrong, he's one of the best third baseman, shortstop in the league. But I feel like offensively, he's a little bit overrated. That's just my opinion.
All right, we both got okay. I had the piping hot take.
Oh, yours was definitely piping.
Yours is borderline cold, my friend.
Look. I mean, is he overrated in some sense? I would agree with that. But the most overrated,
in baseball right now.
It's tough because I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that I would compare.
He's good.
It's funny. It's because nobody else is being talked about right now.
Well, that's true. And again, it's tough to say what he did last year warrants what the money they're talking about. Like, I can't even defend that because it doesn't. Right. But you have to go off what he is capable of and what his potential is, and that's kind of what you have to go off of. And hey, man, like, this guy won the MVP, and be like, hey, maybe he can do that again. I guess that's why the money. But yeah, like I said, hopefully he gets signed soon, and we can stop fucking talking.
Come to Philly already, for God's sakes!
And fucking John Heyman can stop tweeting aimlessly. All right, let's
skipping away, man.
Let's move on to in case you missed it, Brendy. All set and ready to go. Let's hear it. What have I missed this week?
All right. Well, you've missed some pretty good news. So, as you guys know, Nintendo, very popular gaming company.
Yes.
So, never really. Well, you should look into that. So, so just recently, the president of Nintendo has actually stepped down. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I want to say Reggie. I'm just going to call him Reggie.
Good old Reg.
And he's been around for a while, right?
Reggie.
So yeah, the Nintendo president Reggie has decided to step down, and he's already named a new president. I believe the transition will occur in April. That's according to Business Wire. So the next president that will take his place is a guy by the name of Doug Bowser.
Yep.
So the guy's last name is Bowser.
Yep,
that's
no joke.
Great.
And
Wow.
I just want you guys to take a look at the first picture that I got of Doug Bowser. Take a look what's in the background.
Oh God.
Take a look at Mario and Luigi there.
He got into this company knowing exactly what he was doing. My favorite, by the way, is that it's actually a GameCube controller that he's wrapped around too. My God. So for those who may be listening with no visual, I'll put it on the YouTube video, but maybe for those listening on Spotify and iTunes, it's basically new President Doug Bowser smiling, holding a sign saying thank you for the warm welcome. But in the background, on what appears to be a couple of shelves where he has a bunch like a plushie kind of things, he has Mario and Luigi wrapped back to back with a GameCube controller.
They look like they're tied up like they're in a saw trap or something.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out the announcement of his hiring has actually been really interesting because apparently sales for the Nintendo Switch have already skyrocketed, and is also sales for Animal Crossing New Leaf specifically have taken a spike.
You can't make that up though. Come
No.
on now.
Oh no,
No,
you just had to think like you're next in line for he was thinking about this like this next
jeez.
guy's last name's gonna be Bowser.
That had
Yep.
to have, dude. That had to have been like at least some of the reason why, like they considered him, because he's like, this guy's name is literally Bowser. Like we have to consider
It's
him.
it's the best PR move ever.
Yeah.
And
And it's worked.
according to the Washington Post, Nintendo didn't immediately respond to questions about whether this Bowser breathes fire. So, we'll have to see. Maybe Bowser can take Nintendo into the right direction.
Can I just say that Nintendo I swear they have to be one of the most fun companies to talk about, because there's like, I mean, yes, they have their issues like every company does, but like the fact that like a new president coming in is basically a joke is pretty fucking funny. The fact that reporters are asking if Bowser breathes fire and they have a response ready for that, like that's just perfect to me. I love this company.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I hope that everything goes well for Bowser in future Nintendo, and hopefully they can keep the the memes coming.
That was Nick Bowser,
man.
by the way.
Cheers to Bowser.
Cheers to Bowser. So this is a story that we couldn't really fit into the main section of the podcast, but apparently something that the gaming community can basically all agree on is that microtransactions, like loot boxes, supply drops, whatever kind of drops, they suck ass.
Yeah.
You're basically paying money. You're basically paying money to not get anything.
Zach is the calm before the storm right now, by the way.
Yep. So Call of Duty Black Ops 4 next big content drop is called Operation Grand Heist, and it brings loot boxes back to the series. So it currently does not contain any weapons, but it will eventually. Eventually, at some point, it will, which was the case with Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare. And this is a game that's already takes $50 for a season pass that you could very quickly spend your COD points on already.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask, why would Black Ops 4 do this?
So
They're money whores.
well, okay, so the one thing I gotta guess about the loot boxes though is it just it's just cosmetics again, right? So
believe so, yeah.
for now.
okay,
Yeah.
if it stays that way,
it brings the blackjack shop back from Black Ops 3.
oh, fucking hell. Okay,
If you know what that is.
I do. I hate these fucking things. Doesn't Black Ops 4 also have like a version of Battle Pass as well?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
I have it.
So why then are they putting this in the goddamn game? So I guess my question then becomes, okay, so then does loot boxes, whatever rewards you get out of you get the rewards out of the Battle Pass, right? Like you get like similar to how Fortnite does it?
Right.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it does work that way, so does that mean you can just kind of get those same rewards from one loot box? Is that the thought here?
So I'm gonna say I'm really not sure, but I will say with World War II probably had the worst supply drop system that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Because they had the fucking like 100 pistol grips, which you could still get, and like they'd be duplicated, and like you would get like a little bit of your points or whatever back. I don't know what they were called. I forget what they were called in there.
Yeah.
Credits or I think they're called credits.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of your credits back for getting a duplicate,
Right.
but not a whole lot. And it's so stupid too, because like you see like this card with like a cool background, like, oh shit, I'm getting a heroic item, pistol grip. It's like, wow, great.
And so I mean, I hate these things. I've always come out against these things. I really don't understand what they were trying to accomplish with loot boxes, because for most of the game's life cycle so far, they've had everything going right for them. But until recently, I've started to see people start turning on this game for reasons that I'm not really aware of. But I mean, what were they trying to do? Because I mean, they don't need what it was not in there to begin with. What do you need in there now for? You know what I mean? Like you just fucking put in league play for God's sake. So obviously your priorities were straight. I just don't understand this move. I really don't. And everybody's pissed off. Nobody likes this idea. Literally nobody likes this.
Zach, what are your thoughts on microtransactions? Specifically within the COD franchise.
Well, I mean, just for any game, honestly, it's not just COD, but you know, I'm already paying $60 for a game, and when I'm paying that price for one game, I'm expecting to get a full game. I don't want to have to pay any more to enjoy the game.
Right.
$60, I should enjoy it at face value. I don't want to have to spend any more money on it.
Okay, so that brings up a question I have. So let's take a game like The Sims. You know, you pay like $40 for The Sims. You get the full game, or you don't get the full game, but you get, you know, you can play the game. But like The Sims, you know, they have expansion packs. You know, you pay $10 or $15 and you get like a bunch of new content. Right. What do you think about something like that though?
I think that's different because I was going to refer back to Black Ops 2 when you could buy like camo packs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, first of all, shout out to Black Ops 2 camos. Those camos were
the best.
Bar none the best.
Black Ops 1 though had the best gold. No,
I will agree with that. Absolutely. Nope, I'm with you. It's a little bit different because then it becomes the issue with the loot boxes comes from the fact that it's practically gambling, and you're giving like 8-year-olds the ability to gamble on these boxes. So you pay $2 for a loot box, and a loot box will give you 4 commons, right? Like nothing to give you back, and then there's certain math involved for the chances that you can get epics or legendaries or whatever the game is calling them, and people will put tons of money into that. Whereas, say it's like a camo pack or expansion pack, it's like, look, the pack, you're getting this, and this. If you want it, here's the price. If you don't want it, cool. Enjoy the rest of your game. Like, that's it. That's all it is. And I think that's a little more, I guess, moral than the loot boxes, and a little bit your money's worth, because you know what you're getting. You can decide whether or not it's worth your money or not. Whereas the loot boxes, it's always going to be, throwing a dart.
Right, and I agree with that. And DLC is, you're right in saying that it's not a gamble. And DLC also leaves room to add more to the game later on that they may not necessarily have thought of on release day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about all the stuff like GTA 5 per se has added since it released.
Yeah, you have to keep the game interesting for its life cycle, right? I mean, GTA 5 is on its 6th year, I think.
Yeah,
or
it's going into year number 6 this year.
Yeah, so
they're updating it all the time,
right? So, and like, imagine GTA 5 never having any updates and just being the same game as it was on release. Everyone would stop playing.
I would have already had it uninstalled.
Right, exactly. So you have to keep the game, especially for a game that only has a year life cycle like Call of Duty. You have to keep it somewhat entertaining, right? You have to. So I don't have a problem with map packs. I'll buy them. I don't have a problem with those types of packs, but it's because I know what I'm getting. I want those extra maps. I like your game enough to give you just a little bit of extra money. It is absurd that I'm already paying $60 for the game itself and then paying $10 a map pack like it used to be. Right. Yes, it's a lot of money, but if I like your game enough and you're continuously supporting the game, I will support you. I will support the devs. What I will not do is gamble on these stupid little cosmetic items for how much it costs for a pack of crates. And it's just not worth it, man. It just isn't. And it was like when I got into HUT on NHL for a little while, I never put a single penny into it, but there are people who are putting hundreds of dollars into it. And then next year they do it all over again. It's so strange to me.
I would never put a dime into HUT.
No, I played it pretty religiously for almost a year. Was it 17? I think I did it on.
So you can grow your team without buying anything.
You can, but to a certain degree, right? Like, I definitely had my few high 80s, low 90s players, and obviously the 99 John Scott that they threw out, which was fucking funny. But if I were to buy packs, I bet you I'd have like the stacked like 99 overall everywhere lineup. But I wasn't going to do that because then it wouldn't transfer over to the next game. And it would just seem like a waste of money at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know. I never really got into HUD just because of that.
I played it religiously for 1 year because the concept's cool. The concept's really cool. I never wanted to put a dime into it because, again, the card packs were always, a gamble. I say that though, acknowledging that I'll still go to the store and buy a pack of hockey cards if I have some extra dollars lying around. But
I think
that
there's
to
a
me is a little
difference.
bit different.
I think there's a difference though between microtransactions and additional content. Like,
Yeah.
because like in the Ultimate Team series and the EA games, like it's like basically pay to play. Like that I
Mhm.
don't agree with. Like, but if you're paying for additional content, like where it's not affecting
Mhm.
whatever, like again, cosmetics. Now, there was a story that, and I think it like went all the way that we were talking about earlier about like basically it's gambling with like the loot boxes and stuff. Like in
Mhm.
Belgium, they actually banned it
They
from
did.
FIFA 19, well the FIFA series,
Mhm.
basically because it is like gambling and
Mhm.
illegal like
It,
in certain countries.
it never made any sense. And someone on Reddit brought up a good point um about Activision, Treyarch, etc. Making these games. So EA has been notorious for this kind of thing. We know this. But here's the thing: EA has started slowly to clean up the act a little bit after what happened with Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
Treyarch, Activision, whoever has not experienced such a travesty yet. So what it's going to take for them to stop doing this, because no one's going to ever stop buying these crates. As much as in an ideal world where everybody says they hate them, there are people out there buying these fucking crates. You can't stop it. So what's going to happen is that they're going to have to make the worst possible move with these loot crates as possible. Like you can't access certain game modes unless you buy a loot crate with that game mode in it or something stupid like that. And once that happens, they'll realize, oh, hey, maybe this wasn't actually a good idea. We should put our money into developing better map packs and better game modes. Hell, even new game modes. I'll buy new, expansion packs that introduce new stuff, new takes on zombies or whatever it is. I'll buy that shit, but tell me what I'm getting. Don't fucking throw me a box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I never liked these things.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the battle pass better, but not by much. Because, like I said, I play Rocket League a lot, and I keep considering buying the Rocket Pass each time. So I don't know
I don't
what
know.
the.
Like I said, I think there's a kind of difference, but anyway.
Well, I just want to. So I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna try to be as quick as I can on this last one. So basically, ESPN announced their 2019 World Series of Poker TV schedule.
Yay!
So it'll be taking place July 3rd to the 16th.
Ooh,
And I just out of curiosity, I went on WorldSeriesOfPoker.com and looked at all the events. I'm curious. It's specifically for well, I guess for all of you guys, but what would you guys say, like, you probably, like, looking at all these lists of games, what do you think you would have the best chance of winning a bracelet at? Probably any like limit hold'em kind of game, I would assume, right?
Oh no, I can't play limit. I gotta play.
Or
No
sorry,
limit.
not limit. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
No limit hold'em.
Yeah, I mean, I've never fully played Omaha. I know how to. But I don't think I'm any good at it right now. I'm gonna have to spend a lot more time on it. But I definitely think I have a good grasp of hold'em to at least compete. I don't think I'll make any final tables or get in the money at any of these bracelet events by any means, not anytime soon. But eventually, I feel like I can get there at no limit hold'em.
Yeah, that would be mine.
And
sure.
for those who don't know what Omaha is, it's basically the same thing as Texas Hold'em, except you get 4 cards instead of 2.
Omaha, sit.
Omaha, sit.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
man.
I know a few other games that some people don't know how to play. Like, my favorite game is probably Raz, but I can never play it because no one else knows how to play it.
Mm-hmm. I haven't learned that game yet.
Well, it's basically like the exact opposite of stud. You try to get you try to basically get the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So like the worst possible hand in poker where straights and flushes don't count against you. So like a non-wheel straight basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and like if you pair, like that's bad.
I'm also in like a poker dry spell right now because I can't play while I'm in college, so I've gone like a month without playing. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah,
dude,
online gambling illegal in your state?
Straight up, yes.
Wow.
Well,
so even like Bovada.
Yeah. So, well, that's the thing. So here, it's always a tricky, very gray area thing. So, according to law, all online gambling is technically legal. However, there are no recorded arrests for people who have.
Oh.
So it's one of those things where it's like I probably could get away with it, but I'm not going to try it because I'd be that dumbass who somehow gets caught. Not to mention I'm also in a I'm in a school facility, so they might even end up blocking it. But no, and I'm from New Jersey originally, but I go to school in Maryland. So in Jersey, I'm gonna, I can play on PokerStars all day and not have a problem because it's obviously legal and regulated over there. But here in Maryland, it's not.
Right,
So.
and I've seen you stream some of your attempts. Sometimes you have some pretty good runs. So
I had a really good run in the first time I ever played, where I ended up winning like $100 in a free roll.
a free roll, yeah,
and a free roll, which was very, very good. And I went heads up, and I ended up blowing it there, but it was still a good run. I have okay runs. I just I have a lot to work on. But anyway, keep going.
Zach, I know you play Texas. Is that like your main go-to game?
Texas Hold'em?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the main one that I play. I mean, just good old Texas Hold'em.
Mhm.
Obviously, like, it's not legal here, but I mean,
Mhm.
we'll have a group of 8 to 10 people that'll like basically place friendly bets against each other. Obviously, we're not betting like big bucks, but
I was going to say,
how many people do you play with? I forgot. What'd you say?
I mean, usually, it could be anywhere from like 5 people to 10 people.
Yeah,
Bro, I gotta
have on a weekly basis.
Sometime.
Yeah, it's funny in Maryland because when doing the research to see if I could play, because I feel like I could make a decent penny off of it. They literally just legalized not even a few years ago home games. Like they were technically illegal for a long time. So it's really bad over here. I mean, there's legislation that's been proposed, and there's talk of allowing it because they added a new casino a few years back, and they're starting to pass some laws in terms of like horse racing and sports betting and stuff like that, because sports betting has been taking a huge leap in recent years. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I did want to mention that real quick because it's terrible in Maryland.
All right,
All right, yeah, we're going. Move on, boys.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, this doesn't warrant breaking news, but Eagles legend Cody Parkey has been cut by the Bears.
Oh my God! Yeah, of course he did. I mean, you can't miss that kick and not expect to have your expect to have
Is
your
he the
job.
guy that did he win a Super Bowl with the Eagles last season and then he got traded and
No, Jake Elliott was their kicker then.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Still is the kicker.
He used to kick for the Eagles.
He did.
but
He did.
He got cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I should add that. Last topic here, and we are running long, so I'm gonna say we're gonna try to run through it fast, but you never know with us. Either way, it's a podcast. Who cares? So Zion Williamson, the face of college basketball, and the face of fucking ESPN, because they can't stop talking about him.
It's like Ben Simmons all over again.
Oh my God, man.
30 seconds into the biggest, probably the biggest game. Well, I don't know. The Virginia game was a big game too, but one of the biggest games of the year for Duke at this point in the season. 30 seconds in, Zion has the ball, goes to make a cut, and his shoe literally explodes.
It's one of the weirdest clips I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It literally exploded off of his foot.
I mean, I know everybody talks about like how like Zion basically is a freak of nature, but like you literally seen as he was cutting like the power that he was cutting with.
So was it like that clip with Manu Ginobili and his shoe?
Honestly,
if anyone knows what I'm referring to,
I do. But it was like weird. Like watching it from a certain angle, it literally looked like his shoe exploded before like he even touched the ground. Like that's how much force it looked like he was.
Think of a t-shirt cannon. That's basically what his shoe looks like coming off of his foot. It literally exploded.
Right, let me look at this clip.
And all he was doing was he was turning. Like he was on his foot. He picked up the ball and he turned and took a step and then just fucking blew up on his foot.
Did you hear that Nike lost like $1 billion because of that?
Yeah, I mentioned what you even said. That's probably like nothing to them.
That's
but
pretty stupid, honestly. Because I mean, how big is Zion Williamson?
Oh my God, he's a freak.
I assume he's a large person, like
6'7", 268.
Well over 6 feet.
6'7", 268, I think.
Yeah, he's like 6.
And by the way, in case you don't forget, he's 18. By the way, 6'7", 268.
If you haven't heard, if you haven't heard by every fucking body ever.
He is 6'7", 284.
Okay, I was close.
That's a big man.
Yeah, so
is
I
a big
mean,
man.
if a guy that size makes a cut like that, he's gonna, destroy a shoe.
Oh yeah, especially
I
a
mean,
Nike shoe. Oh,
the result of this is what is being called a day-to-day sprain. But we weren't going to talk. We were thinking about cutting this, but we're not going to cut it. We're going to talk about it.
Wow.
I'm making an executive decision.
oh my god!
Because this is a big point.
Order.
Look, it really is. It's a big point. Because this has opened up a lot of discussion, especially with everybody seeing this clip and if it happens to somebody else that's not named Zion, does it maybe get this much traction? I don't know, but it's the whole scenario of, first of all, should he sit out for the rest of the season? Because there's really nothing. He's going to be the number one pick this year. There's nothing for him to play for, and which opens up the next discussion, which is it's talked about a lot, but it needs to continue to be talked about. Should college athletes be paid? Now, this is a very ironic thing that this happened now, because just before the game, there was a report that came out about the ticket prices for this particular game between North Carolina and Duke, which was rivaled the cost of a Super Bowl ticket this year. So if you wanted to go to the game, you would be spending about $2,500 for the cheapest ticket in the stadium.
Oh my god!
Which is just shy of what you'd be paying for the cheapest ticket of the Super Bowl.
Jesus Christ! Sorry.
Now, the ticket that was sold for the most was $10K, a little over $10K, for a college basketball game where the players are not getting paid. And of course, like I said, this opens up a whole big thing. But let's start with this. If you're Zion Williamson, you come back and play this year?
No, why would I need to?
I think the thought is always, whenever this discussion happens, is like, let's say Duke wins a national championship in the tournament this year. That might bump up his potential value money wise.
But
not enough. I'll say that, probably not enough to warrant it. But if he wanted that little extra boost or a little extra spec on his resume, he could do it.
But I feel like it's almost like team. If I'm I don't know, the Knicks, the Suns, any of the teams that are at the bottom of the league right now. If I'm any of those teams, I am fucking calling him and be like, you better not fucking play the rest of this year, because you risk an injury in college when you're going to be the number one pick. That might affect your NBA career. I'm not chancing that.
And think about it. That's exactly what they're doing in football too. Football too, they're skipping bowl games. Christian McCaffrey is a good example of that.
Well, first of all, the bowl games are a completely different thing, just because a lot of them don't even fucking matter. So, at least this is a national championship. I know, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with it. I'm just saying, the bowl games, though, are a little bit easier to skip than a freaking national championship most of the time, because,
they don't matter.
The bowl games.
Duke would currently be a 1 seed, by the way.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the other thing. Duke is a contender. And this is another thing I want to point out too. Like I said earlier, he's 18, right? This is his first year, and he might just, he's a kid, man. He might just want to make sure he's proven himself to the fullest degree, even though his agent's probably telling him, dude, stop, stop what you're doing, sit,
stop.
This is exactly the same situation. What it is going on with college football with Nick Bosa, who's probably going to be the number one pick. I mean, he got injured and did sit out the rest of the season for Ohio State, and if he was there, does Ohio State maybe not get blown out by Purdue and they win that game and then they're in the playoffs and competing for a national title? At some point, it's hard for me to say this without it sounding fucked up. But
oh my fucking gosh, sorry,
you're good. Does Zion really care about Duke? really. He was just in high school last year. He's only going to Duke because it's the
What he's
biggest.
supposed to do.
Yeah, it's fucking Duke. That's college basketball heaven, and he's supposed to go to college to play basketball.
I mean,
But does he really care if they I just don't feel like he cares if they win or not. Because he knows he's going to be the number one pick in the league.
but I don't think that's really part of the question though, because it's about building his own resume.
But
I mean,
it's already built. He's going to be the number one pick.
Sure, but I know it's maybe not worth much, but I mean, a national championship is nothing to sneeze at. Even if it's something he really didn't need to do. It's like that extra little, I guess, push through that would be there to be like, hey man, yeah, I'm the real deal. I carried Duke essentially to a national championship in my first year.
Well, him and RJ Barrett.
Right.
Yeah, they might go 1 and 2.
I say essentially. I know he's there. But, he's like Tyler said, he's the face of ESPN and basically anything that covers college basketball. So, the fact that it would just be the story that would get him all the media attention and all the money in the world, man. I mean, but I fully agree that he probably should just sit down and just kind of wait it out. But if we're talking about if he really cares about Duke, I mean, I'm sure every player in some way, even if they're 1 year removed from high school, cares about the college at least a little bit. I mean, for God's sake, I mean, they're giving him money, and we'll get to this in a second. They're basically giving him money scholarship-wise to play basketball for nothing, right? So he's got to respect the legacy at least a little bit. He's got to respect the time he had there. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's only there because it's what he's supposed to do, and he knows that he's got a very bright NBA future ahead of him. So
quick question.
Okay.
What classes do you think Zion Williamson is taking right now in school?
Beginners walking.
Yeah, you got it.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, here's the thing. So, and you got to, I recommend, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, go watch John Oliver's piece on his show last week tonight on HBO. He did a whole piece regarding the NCAA and athletes being paid. And they cited a lot of interviews where they asked athletes, like, what classes did they take? And whatever, and it's like languages that are not even like spoken really anywhere, like these way offset languages that they would take, and it would be the easiest pass like ever, and that's probably what he's dealing with, because why would it matter? Because here's the thing, like, he fails all his classes right now, right? Does it even matter? I mean, he's got to keep something to stay on the team, like academically. I know there's regulations for that, but. So I shouldn't say fail, but I know he's probably not putting in
100% effort.
100%, no.
Yeah, and
I don't blame him.
No, and I don't either. Like I said, I just don't think this. I think we talked about this, when it was proposed, and I think it was over the summer, about how the NBA is basically going to be paying guys at high school $100K to play. In the, I don't know if it's I can't remember if it was the G League or, some league like that. But then the NBA just proposed a rule for the age limit to be 18, instead of 19 in the NBA. Right. Which basically means guys could potentially come out of high school and play in the NBA.
Well, and Brendy mentioned that the rule still exists for 1 year out of high school, and like I said, it's one, and I want to expand on this real quick. This is the first step to making it so that there's another path besides college, which for people like Zion would make a little bit more sense, because imagine if that rule was in place where he didn't have to be one removed from high school. He could easily just either get drafted right out of high school and then go to a team, or he could go to a developmental league for a year or two and like a G League and get paid for it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think this is the first step, because typically when you're out of college, out of high school and 1 year out, you're 19. Mm-hmm. Now it's 18. Most people turn 18 in high school. So I think this is the first step in the new path creation for how to get to the NBA. I wonder if NCAA is scared of this. I gotta wonder.
It sucks, because I love college basketball and college football, but I know that there's a lot wrong with it, and it kind of sucks, because I feel like they could destroy themselves. But I mean, this brings up the whole point about college athletes being paid. I know there's a lot. There's a lot on this. Trust
Yeah.
me. There's a lot. There's from both sides. But I guess as a general, without going too much into it, as a general question, where are you guys at on this?
Well, can I dive into at least a couple of things about
Yeah.
it?
Well, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so here's where the line, the gray area exists, and why this is such a hard debate to have, and I don't even know where I stand on the matter, right? So let's look at some things real quick. So first of all, the NCAA last year has crossed $1 billion in revenue from their, their athletics, everything, like their, March Madness, football,
College football,
etc., college hockey, everything. $1 billion. That's how much they make at the expense of the student athletes. I'm not blind to this. The problem becomes that you are now, let's say they implement something where you pay players, you pay college players. Those players are technically professionals now. So because by definition, a professional is somebody who gets paid for their services, right? So if you get paid to play basketball, you are a professional basketball player. So in that case, you're turning the NCAA into a professional league, right? And this is something that maybe you guys can educate me on. So from my understanding, say someone like Zion gets a full ride to wherever he goes, Duke, and Zion's at Duke, so he has a full ride at Duke, and then other players have gotten full rides and you see lots of really cool videos of player walk-ons getting scholarships and stuff like that, right? But not every player gets those types of scholarships, right? And that's I think part of the problem. Why is that considered a bad argument by the NCAA? Because that's the NCAA's argument, is that, look, these colleges give scholarships to their brighter stars. That's paying. Like I'm in college right now. I go to a D3 school in Maryland, right? I'm not playing sports or anything. I'm here strictly for academic purposes, and I'm coming out of here with almost $200,000 worth of debt, right?
And D3 schools, by the way, just want to point out, they offer no athletic scholarships.
Yeah. Yeah, they offer nothing. So, and I'm not here for athletics, like I said, so it's a little bit different for me. But so I'm here and I'm paying an insane amount of debt. If I was able to come here with an athletic scholarship, I'd be probably forever grateful for that kind of thing, because that's basically paying me $100,000 to pay my loan. So why is that considered a bad argument that everybody seems to laugh at when NCAA cites this?
Well, so I know that's the main argument. Well, one of the main arguments. Here's the thing for me: the work that they're putting in, it's not like they're just showing up to play a college basketball game. It's essentially, for all intents and purposes, like it's a job. It's they're committing themselves to going to the weight room, practicing, team meetings, game.
Yeah, it's
everything.
a job.
It's everything. Look, it's a lot, and it's a lot of extra stuff, and
right.
I've heard stories, like hearing about this, that the schedules of these guys are pretty fucking insane. It's
right.
It's like a 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. shift, like
and
kind of
it
thing.
is. It is. I in my first year, I roomed with someone who played tight end for a football team here, and he would be up at 6, 7 a.m. for on field practice, go to come back, shower, go to class, and then have a meeting at 1, and do these kind of things. The thing I did want to mention is, like, we've seen a lot of players, especially in football, speak about this kind of thing. I think, though, part of it as well is, like, we joked about the classes that they're probably taking, right, are probably not really worth
a joke.
Right. Yeah. So I wonder if what might fix the problem is if there was a payment system in place to treat it like a job, because of the time commitment. It is, right. Because there are some players who are not able to afford other living, expenses that they have while going to college. So on top of going to class, doing all the stuff for those classes, also doing all the requirements for playing on the team, they probably have a part-time job.
Yeah.
So that's where it's weird to me, is like, I hate, the reason it's not just the sports that is keeping them away from the classes, that there are some people coming out of not so good situations financially So they need a job to support themselves and to support the what they do in college. I mean, it's not unheard of.
I think yeah, I think like, and also I think we seen it last year with DeAndre Ayton in Arizona and the scandal there. There's a lot
Yeah.
of under the table kind of stuff going on, and
Yeah.
that eliminates that. And I think you just kind of have a cleaner playing field
Mhm.
and a clean slate.
Yeah.
Now I will say, like, I think I want to be on the side of athletes should be paid, but like I'm kind of not sure as well. But like it just from just everything that happens, it just seems like they deserve it. Now it's tough because like I'm also being biased here, and I will admit that.
Mhm.
Like I'm kind of thinking of only college basketball and college football, but there's fucking hockey, there's soccer, there's
Mhm.
gymnastics, volleyball, like all this, and I guess that's where it
Mhm.
gets complicated. But
Yeah.
because they're like that too. I mean, they're putting in their lives for that. But as me, as I guess you can call me, I guess I would be a consumer because I'm watching and buying apparel and stuff like that for like the football and basketball team.
Mhm.
Like I just think that they should, and I know that they're probably getting treated very well at their college, and there's a lot happening for them. But they still deserve to be paid for what's happening. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure Zion is, getting, um, I don't know. I would assume at least. I'm sure he's getting stuff that maybe players from other colleges aren't because
No. I
it's
mean,
fucking
yeah.
Zion Williamson. But at the same time, I believe the thing for me as well is that you said it. I mean, the NCAA made $1 billion. I mean, they're making money off of college athletes. Their likeness of them, and um,
Mhm.
I think it's just unfair, really.
I did want to hear what Zach and or Brendy have to say about this. If any of these guys want to chime in, because I'm sure they have some opinions on it as well.
Well, as far as what you said earlier about them not being paid because it turns it into a professional league, I agree with that, but I don't agree with them not being allowed to take endorsements and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a little
They
crazy.
should be
That one's
they should be
nuts.
allowed to take the endorsements because
Yeah.
that's
So
that's basically a third party offering them money because
right.
of all the
Well,
attention they're
yeah,
drawing to the sport.
And just
I
for the
mean,
record, this goes past endorsements. I mentioned earlier off air to the guys that I for my communications class here, I did a report on Donald De La Haye, who is a kicker for UCF. He got in trouble with the NCAA for quote using his status as an NCAA athlete to promote his YouTube videos. His YouTube channel featured videos of him, doing stuff in college, and I think there was a couple things in practice, and him practicing his kicks and everything like that. First of all, he's not a bad kicker, by the way. He's actually
right.
pretty decent. And he ended up getting in trouble because he was monetizing those YouTube videos and essentially making money off the status as an NCAA athlete. And so it came down to a choice for him whether or not he either removes the monetization and chooses not to get paid for those videos, or leaves them up and then gets banned by the NCAA. He chose the latter and is no longer on the team, but is still making YouTube videos because that's what he deemed his career in the future just held for him. So good on him for making that decision. But yeah, it is a little weird. Like, you cannot make any money, even if it's a penny, for saying that, hey, I'm an NCAA athlete.
So
Because-
it's basically like I can't make, if I'm a college athlete, I can't make money off of my likeness, but the NCAA can. Like that's so unfair.
Well, so let's say Ty, you're an NCAA athlete. You're the best fucking goaltender in the history of the NCAA, and you're playing for Michigan. So you're playing, and you decide to make a YouTube channel for whatever reason, right? If you say at any point that you are an NCAA athlete and use that status to draw interest and essentially draw monetization and money to your videos, you're in trouble.
Right.
If you, however, like develop some fucking alter ego and monetize those videos for it and did something completely different outside of hockey, you're not in trouble. It's
Yeah.
the idea of using your name as an amateur, essentially, to make money that is a problem in the eyes of the NCAA.
I just think it's dumb. I mean,
I feel like I disagree with that entirely. It's all fucking money.
it's frustrating. Like, and I'm sure obviously for the players, it's frustrating. Like, I can't make any money because of what I'm doing, but you can make $1 billion off of me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they're like these colleges are banking on these players. They're the ones bringing the crowds into the game every night. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, and you're not there to see the executives. I know.
It sucks too because like, and I know it's kind of going off a topic, like not off topic, but like the NCAA video games were like for college
Oh my
basketball and
God.
football were some of my favorite video games, and they stopped it because of this reason. Like, well, we can't. Well, like I get it was a whole thing with they're making money off of them, so they stopped that. But like, they're still they just made $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's a lot, man.
Now
It's
they
just
always talk.
unfair.
They always talk about how they're like reinvesting in programs, and I'm sure they are. Like,
Right.
I mean, they are. I mean, if you want to hate them, fine, but they are for all intents and purposes. They're also reinvesting in other opportunities for athletes and just college athletics in general, which is a good thing. But yeah, there is a problem with the fact that millions tune into March Madness every year, and all these sponsors are there and everything. Like, there's millions and millions of dollars of revenue coming in off this one tournament that lasts almost a month, and none of the players down there who are missing
they're not
classes,
even seeing a penny of that money.
right? Missing classes and need to eat and everything else get nothing. It just doesn't happen. Brendan, did you have any opinions on this? I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Well, there's not really a whole lot I can add, but I will say, kind of just adding on to Tyler about the whole NCAA, like the video games.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. I just remember, they had a pretty cool feature. I can't exactly remember what it was called. Where like if you made a character, in the NCAA video game, you could transfer it over.
Yeah, it was called Road to Glory.
Yeah, and I thought that was
that.
yeah, I thought that was really cool. I will say, in the current system is a little like it does beg the argument of whether or not the players should be paid. But so I'm gonna say this. I'm just gonna ask this question in terms of basketball because I know in the NFL like the rules are a little bit different. So the NBA has the whole, they call it the one and done rule, which, that's a popular term. So, which basically you have to be 1 year removed to high school. So you just play 1 year at college or whatever, and just to waste your time.
Yep.
So here's my question. Would you guys, so let's say that the rule was what I like to call 0 and 2. Which basically says if you want to declare for the NBA draft out of high school, you can, but if you choose college, you have to be there for at least 2 years. That's something that the Players Association and the NBA has talked about. So let's assume that that's the rule. Would you guys still support or would you still be against paying the players?
Well,
No, I think you would still have to because the thing is, I mean, with the NBA, like it's a little different because only 60 players are getting drafted each year, and it's a very it's a very select amount. So like, how many players do you think could legit come out of high school and get drafted right away? Like, I think
Probably about like maybe 8 or 9.
yeah, I would say like single digits. I would say so. Like,
And then the players that are declaring for the draft out of high school, like they pretty much know they're getting drafted.
right, exactly. So like Zion coming out of high school, like he knows he's going to get drafted, like because he was being thought about in high school.
Yeah, I mean Ben Simmons went to LSU.
right.
Yeah, like come on now. But I mean, you still have those players that are trying to make a life for themselves in the NBA that are putting in the work in college and on these crazy schedules that will stay there for 2 or 3 years, maybe even their 4th year. I mean, like for example, just because I am, know him well, like Mo Wagner for Michigan. He was at the college for 3 years and almost came back for a fourth year, and he got drafted in the first round of the NBA. Like, should he be punished for not being developed right away? I don't think so. Like, he's still putting the work, and now he's, he ended up being a first round draft pick. Like,
Yeah.
I think you still got to pay him. It just, it sucks. Like I said, because like I love what I see out there, but I also know it's kind of unfair what they're doing to the players, and like I feel like I'm doing something wrong because like I'm liking something that like in theory kind of seems fucked up.
Right. So can I offer a counter to the idea that Brendy pointed out? So
And that's not necessarily
Right.
an idea I support or reject.
No.
It's just an idea that's been going around.
Here's something that would make a little more sense to me, right? So let's keep the one and done for example for college, right? So if player wants to go to college and do 1 year and then go to the draft, cool, good for them, because at least in that 1 year they're also supposed to be taking classes that are helping for the future, so they're getting a full year, right? Which is
Right.
not something to be really overlooked. But we talked about earlier and was mentioned that the NBA requesting that the draft age be taken down to 18 is kind of the first step for them building their developmental league. You see the G League starting to get some popularity and some money being put into it now. So what if instead of just the one and done rule, if you still were so intent on making it so that you still had to be somewhat removed from high school before you're playing on an NBA floor, what if it became, okay, you either do one and done in college, or you do out of high school, enter maybe another draft that the NBA does, or maybe the same one, don't know, where you get put into developmental for 2 years instead. So that in that case, you're getting put into developmental and would get somewhere an entry level contract, and then you're a professional player at that point. You don't have to waste your time in college not getting paid for your basketball bills, because think of Zion Williamson would take that deal in a heartbeat, because
Right.
because he's a one of a kind player. And we mentioned earlier, like, there's only a single digit number for the amount of people who get drafted out of high school. And I recognize that special talent doesn't come very often. Someone like Zion doesn't come out very often. But someone like him would benefit from this, because then now he's getting paid to play basketball and he's got the future ahead of him. He doesn't have to waste the time in Duke. So he can take the 2 years, if that's what it is, and get paid for it, get an entry level contract, and then get called up. I think that would be a better option, don't you think?
So yeah, I do like that idea. And I will say, like, there are, like, more commonly today, there are alternatives to going to college. Like Emmanuel Mudiay, I think, is probably the best example. Played overseas before he got drafted.
Yeah.
Didn't trade draft stock at all, and he's paid. He was paid for it.
Right.
And G League players, if someone came out of high school and joined the G League, they would essentially get paid as well.
Well,
Right.
that's what the whole thing was, which I think, honestly, like, it might become a big thing with how high school players can get the 100K or whatever, and
Yeah.
So I will say about the whole the G League draft, for example. The G League would have to basically redesign how exactly they do the draft, because currently in the draft they really only draft people that are like basically out of the NBA and are like trying to like stick to basketball.
Right.
Like Willie Reed was number 1 overall last year.
all right.
Don't ask me why I know that.
I don't know why you know that, but that's fine.
But so like they draft either players past their prime or like players that are like hanging on. It's like they're not going to draft someone out of high school because they're going into college.
Right.
So it's if Zion Williamson was taken number 1 overall, a year or two ago, would he have signed with the G League? Maybe. He's going to get paid for it.
Right.
Not a whole lot, but it's something.
I don't know why he would, but I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, yeah, it's 2 years where he's technically not on the NBA floor when maybe he should be, right? But
Right.
at the same time, I mean, he's getting paid for it. He's getting that entry level contract, and he's getting the opportunity to prove to the team that drafted him that he's all that. Right. So that after those 2 years up, there's no doubt at this point that when he comes up, he's worth the millions that he's probably going to get once he gets drafted. So, and then it's not wasting anybody's time.
Right.
To me, that something like that would make sense. Like I said, I am no business major, no finance major, no nothing. So, but to me, if there was a way to work that kind of thing out, that would make sense. I also am aware, though, that the NCAA does have a tight grasp on this type of thing. So this is probably a long shot from happening. But seeing stuff like the NBA start proposing that the draft age be lowered, I think is a good sign for those who support the idea of players getting paid, because that means now you're opening up the tiny hole of opportunity for someone to get drafted out of high school or start going into developmental league. Which,
You know what I love? I love about the NBA too, that literally the thing about Zion blowing out his shoe happened Wednesday. The next day they're already talking about that. Like they're so proactive. I love the NBA for that. Like they're so on top of it.
They know, man. They're not blind.
Point, but yeah, I just always thought that. Like if this was the NHL, like a year and a half from now, they'd be like, "Oh, maybe we should do something about this."
I would say though that this is going to continuously be a problem until the NCAA does something, but it's going to be like trying to make a dead person move. It's not going to work.
Jesus.
It's the truth though, man. I mean, they're terrible with this. And listen, I understand the whole student athlete amateur status that they want to keep. It does make sense whether people want to do that or want to like it or not. It really does kind of make sense, right? I just think that at this point you're making so much fucking money off of these kids, man. I mean, how do you not? I don't know, man. I think it's a slippery slope. If anything, it'd be something like, I don't know, maybe you have that. There's like a minimum wage you give everybody. The problem, I think, what everybody fears is, we talked about, I forget who it was, Tyler, you cited, but whoever did that kind of under the table payment for somebody to commit to college, to whatever that player was. I remember that story. I just can't remember who it was.
DeAndre Ayton.
Right. Yeah. DeAndre Ayton. That's right. Sorry. So that stuff becomes a problem, right? Because I gotta think his teammates look to him like, really, dude? Like, you took that much money and you came here. We got nothing. And we're working our ass off here.
Yeah.
You got to think, right? So, and then, it's going to become a problem in the locker room if somebody's getting paid $250,000 or something like that for a season in college, and the other guys are making nothing for making the team. So, what's going to happen is if it decides that paying players is something that NCAA is going to start to allow, it's going to be really low. And it might be one of those things where somebody's going to, they're all going to have to like get like the same wage or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I mentioned earlier, there are people going to this coming from not so nice home situations, right? Who may need that, and they have to commit so much time into it. It's a really, really hard discussion to have, and there's so much we haven't even opened yet in this discussion. But I know we are running a little low on time, so we might have to pick this up some other time. But I think Zion is really opening up this question now, just because everybody knows he's at Duke wasting time because he has to fill this commitment for the NBA.
Yeah.
Or he could turn around and say he wants to play baseball. I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this is you're right. This is a very complicated thing, and I don't really know if it's going to get resolved anytime soon. But I think until it gets resolved, there will still be discussions.
They're going to point at Zion for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Crazy. But let's wrap the show up with Zach's track of the week. Then we'll end the show there. But Zach, what's the track this week?
All right, this week's track of the week is another dubstep song because I've really been feeling dubstep lately. It's called "Yoi Boi" by Spock.
And live long and prosper.
Yoi Boi by Spock. It sounds like exactly what the name is. Honestly, I don't really know how to describe it further than that.
Can you try and like hum us the song?
Nope.
No?
That's a hard no.
You know what? Pussy. There you go.
All right, let's wrap up the show.
All right,
that was a long one, but it was a good discussion. I think we had a good discussion about basically everything here. Let's wrap up the show by saying you can reach us at our Twitter at Come Play Network. where we've been tweeting out a lot of polls. I should say, I say we, Brendy and I have.
Well,
been
you tweeted out the
tweeting-
Duke UNC poll.
That's right, yeah, I did. So, we're
Tyler
doing
tweeted
stuff
out
over
a
there.
poll.
A poll. I contributed. And we're over there. But as always, as for the YouTube listeners, if you did like it, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Yeah, we will be back next week sometimes for episode 22 of the podcast. But until then, we will see you then. Like I said, for episode 22 of the Come Play podcast.